Belmont area, we've got a crash, 440 eastbound at near Hillsborough Pike, 21st Avenue. Talbot's Corner, just north of downtown. Going northbound, we've got a crash, 65 northbound there, Trinity Lane. And then in Antioch, a crash, 24 eastbound before Harding Place. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, kids. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway for another day. 6 minutes, almost 7 past 3 o'clock. Good afternoon. Welcome in. How are you? How are you? How are you? And how are you? I hope everybody's well, except you. Not you, but everybody else, I hope you're doing good. We're on a lot of different platforms. We're going to tell you all about them. We hope that you're able to spend the next 4 hours with us. We are, as they say, loaded for bear on this Friday edition of the Matt Murphy Radio Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is Friday. It is December 12, 2025. You probably knew that by now. Today is episode 942 of our gatherings together. We started from noon until 3, and very swiftly we're able to move over to 3 until 7 o'clock, and I've loved being a part of your afternoon drive home. Many of you perhaps are getting off a little bit early. Maybe you're sneaking out of the office a little early, already in your automobiles. Welcome to your weekend. For those of you that have got a few hours before you wrap up, we'll try to make that as pleasant as possible and get you on your way to your weekend ASAP. It's, as I say, episode 942. It's also day 330 of Donald Trump's second term in office as president of the United States of America. I remind our liberal friends of this because it drives them absolutely bonkers. We're only in day 330 of what will be 1,460 and 0.5 of his second term. You can find us on Spotify, TuneIn, and iHeart if you take us on your app or on your smartphone device or laptop device. We also have our own app, and I encourage you to download that. Then you can listen to Dan Mandis in Nashville's Morning News. You can listen to Chris Hand. You can listen to Chad Benson. You can listen to yours truly. Joan Jones is in there with the news. Ken Weaver's in there with the news. You can find us conveniently at Supertalk 99.7 WTN. And then, of course, there's Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble. If you type in some variation of WTN, some variation of Supertalk 99.7 WTN, you can find us on all of those applications. The YouTube chat is an insane place full of insane people. It is like an unmonitored party. It's like mom and dad went out of town and the kids threw a party, and it's absolutely crazy. And you're invited to stop by over there if you so desire on the YouTube chat. Give us the old thumbs up, the like, subscribe, and all of that, too, because that helps us out. And I don't think it costs you any money. Ken Weaver knows how much it costs. He keeps the rate card. Ken Weaver's back in News Closet B. He gathers headlines for a living and delivers them twice an hour and when it breaks. Hello, Ken.
It costs absolutely nothing, Brother Murphy.
You see that? Absolutely nothing. Ken?
Yes.
1 week. Can we
dude.
go ahead and talk about this? It's Friday. We got lots of very important things to discuss. Representative Scott Sapicki is going to be thrilling us with his assessment of what went down at the Columbia City Council meeting last night regarding water. I mean, we got that. We got Friday. We got other things to talk about, Venezuela. But I want to start the show in a way that drives Paul Mason, a.k.a. New Suit, crazy. I want to talk about football. Football. Hey, Ken.
Yes, sir.
1 week.
I know.
1 week.
I'm nervous.
Welcome to the playoffs.
Oh, my
Playoffs?
goodness. Playoffs?
How about it, kid? Oh, look. Oh, Sapicki's showing off that.
He's already giving me the thumbs
Y'all
down.
spit the bit. Y'all spit the bit. Sapicki said it. I didn't. Big choker. Choked. Memphis choked. Oklahoma, look.
We got to play that Alabama Crimson Tide twice in 1 year. Well, you guys did too.
It's pretty good the second time around. I'm just saying. Hey, Ken.
Yes, sir.
That offensive coordinator y'all got over there?
Yes, sir.
You think he can give you 20 points? 20.
That's all we need 23 points. I mean, I've got to look at how many games we won.
Hold on, let me do this. This is good. I don't think y'all have allowed more than 23 points.
No, we did. Ole Miss got 34 on us.
Well, that's still holding Ole Miss to a pretty good number.
And Tennessee got 27. But those were the most.
Man. Yeah, I think if y'all hold them to...
We can beat them if we hold them to 21. We proved that.
Yeah, I think, that's right.
It's turnovers, dude. It's all about those turnovers.
Army-Navy game tomorrow. Someone on the Super Text line notes. That's pretty good. You have a
Army.
I'm a go Army guy, too.
Me too.
Make it 3.
All right, RJ's a go Army guy. Hey, you
Black
go
Knights.
Army? Is it 4 for 4, Sapicki, with go Army? He didn't know what we're saying. Go Army?
He's saying Navy.
Okay, well, that's fine. That's good. It's all America. It's all America. It's all good. I don't know why I've always rooted for Army, but I always have.
I like the Black Knights.
Yes.
I like their. I don't know. I like their uniforms better than Navy's, and Navy beat us last year, so I'm mad at it.
God bless all of you young men who will be serving the United States of America, but Ken's mad at you.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him.
I love watching the academies play, man.
I do too.
I love that triple option.
Well, and we talked about it yesterday. Just when you see normal-sized human beings on the offensive line.
Right.
Yeah, they're 250 pounds. Make him a no lineman. Yeah. Good Lord, they're going to kill him.
Yeah.
I love it. I love foosball season. I love the holiday season as well. Are you in the spirit, Ken?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I was in the spirit the week before Thanksgiving, man. We put our stuff up.
Wow. It's too early for me.
We're going to watch Christmas movies tonight and eat special cookies.
We have, I got an anniversary coming up Sunday.
All right.
How about that?
Yes, you do.
We're celebrating. So the radio anniversary is tomorrow.
Right.
That is 4 years on air here at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And then the 23rd wedding anniversary is Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Congratulations.
I know. I married her when she was 7.
I don't know how E puts up with it. But
you and the rest of I don't either. I mean, I don't either, Ken.
By the way, tell the lovely E I still have her Ritz cracker on my window here after that Auburn game.
I will. I came home last night, and she held up a box of popcorn.
Oh. Is she going to do it?
And she said, tell the fellas not to worry.
All right.
She said, baking first, packing second.
Yes.
That's what she said. I don't know that I support that, but that's what she said. So,
that popcorn's like crack.
it is. And we call it crack corn around these parts. Did somebody say special cookies? Yes, Tim. E gave.
Well, I said special cookies.
So, Erica makes snacks during the football season, and she delivers them or I deliver them on Friday. And the week that Oklahoma and Auburn played, Ken is getting these snacks for football weekends, and she, it's various types of different stuff that she makes up in the kitchen, and it's all good. And would you like to read? What does it say? I forgot what it says.
So it's a little sandwich baggie, and there's one Ritz cracker in it.
Right, one Ritz cracker.
It's in the corner, and she has written on there, hiding in the corner. Then the Ritz cracker is the O in Oklahoma. Above that, dirty. Low down.
That was after. Remember, y'all had the
trick play.
You had the trick play where the guy was like all the way off the field,
right.
and
he was almost off the field.
Some I would never do this, Ken, but some would suggest that it was an illegal play. That some have said that. I'm not saying I'm saying that. I'm saying some say.
I know.
I love that trick that reporters do. Mr. Sapicki, Representative Sapicki, some say that you're a scoundrel.
There are some who claim, yeah. But, I mean, good old SEC.
One little Ritz.
Good old SEC refs, man.
Gotta love them.
They're good, aren't they?
Well, we're going to have some good times today. We've got Representative Sapicki, as mentioned, coming by. He's going to tell us all about what went down at the Columbia City Council meeting. Apparently, the vote was in favor of this water deal. For an intake and, borrowing. Well, I don't want to misrepresent what happened because I wasn't there and I don't have all of the details, but my man Sapicki does. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about where we are with education scholarships and the like, and your questions and your calls coming up as well. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. Would love to hear from you on a First Amendment Freestyle Friday. Real quick, I'm going to say this, and then I'll kind of move on from it. There is a news story out regarding Black Lives Matter. And Black Lives Matter as an organizational structure to collect money was always a grift. Always a grift. And we are going to talk about this later on today. But I just want to run down a couple of things for you. Now the story, if you've not heard, there is an organizer with the Black Lives Matter organization, a director in Oklahoma City by the name of Tashila Sherry Amore Dickerson, who has now been charged with 20 counts of wire fraud and 5 counts of money laundering after allegedly spending millions of dollars in donations on personal, quote, indulgences. This is on the heels. There was another Black Lives Matter grifter, I think in New York City. There was one, a part of the national organization, also a Black Lives Matter grifter. These organized efforts to raise money for the purpose of benefiting black people almost universally have been grifts, where the people get the money and you don't see any good outcomes or relatively few good outcomes. And so I will not speak for every single organization that calls itself Black Lives Matter affiliated, but I'm here to tell you that 90+% of them are they're money grifts. They're shams. And what they do and the way that they engage in their sham. Now, walk with me here and tell me if this sounds like something that's happening right now, where they took a real tragedy. BLM took a real tragedy. Now, whatever you think about what happened, that was a tragedy, what happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. A guy died, and now cop Derek Chauvin is in jail, and whether he should be or not, they took a real tragedy. They lied about it. They made up things about it. They omitted key pertinent details and facts that did not fit their narrative in an effort to fool gullible, emotional people into sending them money. They presented things in a way where they claimed that there was something there that wasn't there, that, there's something bigger to this. There's some larger conspiracy to this. And if we don't get money to expose it and to protect our people, then it will continue. And they raked in the money. So they took a real tragedy. They made it about themselves. They lied about it. They omitted pertinent details about it. And by the way, the tragedy was a clear-cut case, right? It was a matter of individuals engaged in an activity, and we got to figure out who's culpable and who's responsible. So they take a tragedy, they use it to their own advantage, they make it about themselves, they lie about it, they omit pertinent facts and details, they make narratives up, they fool gullible, emotional people, and they pretend that there is some sort of grand conspiracy going on when there really isn't, and they rake in the money. Is this reminding you of anyone? Candace Owens. Did you just say that? That's exactly who I was thinking about. Anyway, just a thought. 20 minutes after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy. When it comes to large home repairs, a lot of times homeowners do not want to see the obvious. They want to pretend that things aren't happening that are clearly happening right in front of them. The bottom line is this. What we don't know certainly can hurt us, especially when it comes to our home. So if you've noticed cracks, if you've noticed bowing walls, if you've noticed doors sticking, windows sticking that previously did not, if you've noticed a musty or moldy smell in your basement or your crawl space, all of these are signs that you have foundation issues or waterproofing issues, and you need to get them handled with USS. Bottom line is this. USS gives you peace of mind. They don't try to upsell you on anything. They are problem solvers when they come to your home. And you need to address this on the front end if you don't, if you notice it, because you're going to save money that way. Homeowners simply trust USS. USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. Serving Middle Tennessee since 1994. That's a long time. They do it the right way, too. 615-488-7855. 488-7855 for USS.
Turning Point USA working with Tennessee leaders to expand its presence into high schools statewide. Also, Tennessee has received federal approval to make some changes to the SNAP program. These stories and more at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's going on? It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show. It is 3:25. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. We certainly appreciate you. Whatever thoughts you might have, you can get them in on the Super Text line or on the phone line, 615-737-9986. We keep the phone lines open every day of the week. But on Fridays, it's especially nice to talk with you. I call it First Amendment Freestyle Friday. Now, in the middle of that, at 4:05, we do Fried J, which is kind of a different thing during First Amendment Freestyle Friday. But get your calls and your questions in here, especially if you have any questions about Murray County and, generally speaking, water in Middle Tennessee. Because I hope we get some answers from our next guest. He is Representative Scott Sapicki. He joins us from time to time. He is always quick with a response. He's always quick with an answer. He's a good representative for his constituents. And I found your only fan, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Hold on. Stand by.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. I found your only fan. Look at there.
How you doing?
I mean, you gave it to me.
Yes.
You found a fan to bring.
Self-promotion, man.
That's pretty good.
You like that?
I like that. It would be nice. It'd be nice if it was a heart.
Hey, by the way, I watched Ken Weaver on TV last night.
Did you really?
Yeah.
What?
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Burl Ives. I came in today and Burl Ives had an Oklahoma hat on.
Look, that's
Have a holly jolly Christmas.
Every time I watch that show, it gets worse.
Oh,
It's such a horrible show. It's a horrible message.
Send your
Sapicki.
complaints to Matt Murphy.
No, I do
Except
this
for the parts with me.
Well, I mean, that's fine. Sam the Snowman. Did you see the part where the snowman farted? What? You brought it up, Sapicki. He does. There's a part where he's just sliding through the snow, and then he stops for no reason and goes, and I'm like, well, oh, he just dropped a little snowball there.
There are children that listen to this show.
Well, let me tell you, kids, the real Santa's not that mean. I mean, Santa's like, oh, look at this. This is a great little, Donner, what a fabulous little boy. Oh, my God, he's got a red nose. Kill it.
In education, we have a term for this. It's called ADD.
I'm just telling you.
Squirrel.
So if you're mildly different than the rest of the group, we're going to ostracize you. We're going to bully you. We're going to treat you mean. By the way, and I remember, you watch it last night?
Yes.
So Rudolph's got a little red nose. Okay, fine. And then they treat him like crap. That Fireball kid's got that tufted up blonde hair on the top of his head. What's up with that? Nobody says anything about that.
You need some help. You definitely need some help in life.
And then Santa. So we're going to ostracize Rudolph. We're going to kick him out of the community. He has to go be a loner. And then suddenly when we need something. And oh, by the way,
hold on. This is about the time when Burl Ives starts singing. Ken?
Silver and
Thank
gold.
you. Very good. There you go.
Silver and gold.
Find a peppermint mine.
Have a holly jolly Christmas. All right.
So one final thought. Yeah. Just a final thought on this. I have a hard time believing.
Oh, boy.
Now, Ken, tell me if I'm wrong here.
All right.
I have a hard time believing that a magical elf that lives at the North Pole, that builds wonderful toys for all the little good children around the globe and has done so for hundreds of years, I have a difficult time that they haven't come up with a plan B for little Fog.
Well, this was back in the 60s.
Global warming.
It was back what? It's like, oh, it's foggy. Christmas is canceled. Like, what? You didn't come up with...
Well, there was a show where Christmas was canceled because Santa had a cold.
That's true, Ken. Well, I mean, it happens, you know.
Maybe back then Trans World Airlines was spraying stuff in the air.
Don't get us started on it. Look, don't bring up chemtrails.
Here comes Monty.
Yeah, better watch out. Here comes the chemtrail.
Better watch
brigade.
out.
All right, okay. So give me the. We've now only got about a minute before the news, but so we've wasted this. But what happened last night?
It was disappointing. It was very disappointing. I've been doing this in politics for 15 years, and you could basically tell that no matter what the people said, this group had their mind made up that they were going to do something that logically doesn't make any sense financially.
This group being the Columbia City Council.
Columbia City Council. Mm-hmm. Now, there were some members that did vote no. I think that they wanted to hear more about the options that are available. I was brought into this about 3 weeks ago, and I started to dive deeper into this whole issue and try to make sure that whatever happens is what's good for the people of Murray County and Southern Middle Tennessee. And right now, I am convinced, Matt, that borrowing $500 million for little old Murray County is a bad thing right now.
All right, let's hold your thought there. We'll give you the details and any thoughts on this at 615-737-9986. It's 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and we're going to wake up one morning this weekend in the deep freeze. Got it during the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Fired University of Michigan football coach Sharon Moore arraigned virtually today, charged with 3 crimes against an alleged mistress, including home invasion and stalking. ABC News legal analyst Brian Buckmeyer on the charges.
The home invasion here in the 3rd degree, which is actually the lowest in Michigan, is breaking into someone's home to commit a misdemeanor. That misdemeanor being stalking. I'm also interested in what they're going to learn more from talking to the alleged victim in this case, because when you talk about pulling out knives and scissors to that effect, but I don't see them borne out in any charges or allegations. I would imagine that there might be more charges coming down the line.
The judge set $25,000 bail, ordering Moore to wear a GPS tether ahead of a court appearance January 22nd. Turning Point USA working with Tennessee leaders to expand its presence into high schools statewide. Conservative advocate and Nashville native Riley Gaines telling WTN's Chris Hanshow the plan unveiled alongside Governor Lee and other dignitaries today includes creating Club America chapters that focus on constitutional principles and free market ideas.
I think what we've learned really in the past 3 months following the assassination, the murder of Charlie Kirk, was that Tennessee is not immune to woke ideology. We have seen chapters, both high school and college chapters, even in Christian schools, have problems in starting up a Turning Point chapter.
Yeah, this move follows similar efforts in Texas, Oklahoma, and Florida. Tennessee has received federal approval to restrict sugary foods and drinks from SNAP purchases. Talking about things like candy, soda, and energy drinks will no longer be eligible starting next year. At the same time, SNAP users will gain access to select hot prepared foods, including rotisserie chicken. State leaders say the move promotes healthier eating and better use of taxpayer dollars. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, police say there's a crash over by the airport. It's 40 westbound at Briley Parkway. Belmont area crash, 440 eastbound near Hillsborough Pike, 21st Avenue. That'll be exit 3. And in Antioch, a crash, 24 eastbound before Harding Place. Hillwood got a stalled vehicle. This on the left shoulder there, 40 westbound at Charlotte Pike. And at Talbot's Corner, still dealing with that crash from earlier today, 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. I'm Ken Weaver.
Yeah, it's cold outside this weekend. I mean, obviously, it's been cold for a minute or two this fall, and we are fast approaching Christmas, fast approaching wintertime. And with that comes cold and flu season. If you have a cold or the flu and you call your doctor, how long do you have to wait? I mean, is it one of these 2-week situations? You should not wait this long, and they recognize that at Grace Point Healthcare. They do not believe in these long wait times. It is why at Grace Point Healthcare, with winter fast approaching and cold and flu season already here, you don't want weeks in delay to get an appointment. You will be treated same day, next day, even with new patients. They are a direct pay format. That means that nobody gets in the way between your treatment, between you and your doctor. It's between you and your doctor, and the insurance company should have nothing to do with it. Now, you can file with your insurance company for reimbursement after the fact, but the bottom line is this. Grace Point Healthcare believes in treating you naturally. They believe in getting to the root cause of the problems, and they treat you swiftly. That's what it's all about. From newborns to seniors, Grace Point Healthcare, 599-6868, 599-6868, located in the heart of Franklin. Modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Keith wants to talk about the water issue. We'll get to you momentarily, Keith. 38 minutes after the hour. I know who to call to get to the bottom of these things, and we've been trying to figure all of this out. Have been talking about the Middle Tennessee water issues for some time now, and this is all, from 100,000 feet, there's conversation about a Columbia Dam. There's conversation about lifting up the Normandy Dam. There's conversation about where we're going to get water for Middle Tennessee for 20 and 25 and 30 years down the road. And let's start there, Sapicki, and then kind of boil it down to what happened last night.
Sure.
I mean, there are water needs today, and there are going to be further water needs down the road.
That's correct. As Middle Tennessee continues to grow, we're going to be faced with some challenges on infrastructure. If you drive the interstates right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But as we continue to grow and add more and more households and more businesses, we do have a limited resource, which is the Duck River. Now, the General Assembly made it perfectly clear, because I ran the legislation at the request of Murray County, that we protect the Duck River environmentally of making it a Class 2 scenic waterway. That's already done. The governor has signed that bill. It's in law, and he reinforced that by putting that $65 million into that group in Murray County to come up with a plan on how we're going to have water for the future.
Mm-hmm.
That group has met. They've turned over their recommendation to the governor. It is, like you said, raising Normandy Dam 5 feet. That will back up an additional 5 billion gallons of water. Okay?
That seems significant.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of water.
That's a lot of water. They've also talked about how all of the utilities, that when water does start to get stressed, and Matt, we're only talking about this, right? June through September. That's the dry parts of Tennessee. That, hey, you may have to start working on how you're distributing water and making sure you're using it efficiently. That's another recommendation. But the third recommendation was looking at creating a regional water authority, putting everybody together, working towards a common goal of making sure you're using water appropriately, making sure that we have the ability to share it between utilities to make sure we can meet all the needs of the whole region. And we're not just talking about Murray County now. We're talking about Murray. We're talking about Williamson, Bedford, Marshall, Giles, Hickman, Lawrence, Wayne, putting us all together so that we can all work together, because then you get into economies of scale.
Well, and I get what you just said, but also specific to this issue, it feels like that if we see this move forward with the Columbia Power and Water borrowing, $520 million?
Let's say half
$500
billion.
And creating a new intake and creating new, but to vote on that, rates have to go up.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously.
Oh, yeah.
And we're thinking 150% within 5 years.
At least.
Right? So if you're paying $100 today, you'll pay $250 tomorrow.
At least.
And some people who are going to be forced to pay that have no say in it.
That's correct.
Like, for example, I just use this. Let's just pull a small city out of a hat. Mount Pleasant.
Right.
They buy water from Columbia Power and Water.
They are held hostage to that rate.
Right? Because unless Mount Pleasant can figure out somewhere else to buy water, which I don't think they can.
Well, that's an interesting thought.
Well, I mean, wouldn't they try?
Well,
if you're a representative of the people of Mount Pleasant and they don't like the idea that their rates are going up 150%, I mean, I would look elsewhere.
Well, as a representative of the 64th district, which is Murray County, it is my job to make sure that if we are going to spend money in Murray County, that it is the best use for that money and you're going to accomplish the best goal. Now, you said the magic word right there, Matt, is people like Mount Pleasant, Murray County Water, Spring Hill, they are dependent on Columbia Power and Water for their bulk water, clean, fresh water. Well, right now, let me back up. Let me give you the proposal, and then you can walk through this with me.
Tell
so
us
here's
what
the proposal.
What the $500 million buys us.
So $500 million is going to buy you a new intake down in Williamsport, which is west of Columbia. It's towards the Hickman County line.
Okay.
That is where a lot of the water that goes underground before Columbia resurfaces.
Okay.
So there's a lot more volume over there.
All right.
Makes sense. They want to put an intake in Williamsport and then pipe the water roughly about 25 miles, I believe, to a new water treatment facility, right?
Okay.
That pipeline for $500 million with the new water treatment plant is going to get them 12 million gallons a day. However, 7 million of that, Spring Hill has the ability to speak for and take. That leaves them a net of 5.
I spoke to the mayor of Spring Hill.
Yep, Matt Fitter.
The other night, and because we had a couple of folks speaking on this issue the other day, and he wanted to make sure that the residents of his community knew that he says, and I'm just relating what he said. He said Spring Hill is not dependent on Columbia Power and Water.
They're not.
That they have other water resources they do buy from Columbia Power and Water. And I asked him, I said, well, what would you do if the rates went up 150%, he said, well, we would have to do what is best for our constituencies. And I'm paraphrasing him.
Correct.
Which sounds to me like they would look at other ways to get the water that they need.
So hold that thought.
Okay.
So we have $500 million, 12 million gallons. Spring Hill holds the right of first refusal of 7 of that.
Okay.
That leaves a net of 5. Now, an alternative source. Murray County Water System has already sealed the deal. Construction has already started on a connecting pipeline from Harpeth Valley and HB&T Water to connect to Murray County Water, which will deliver 3 million gallons a day.
That's already a done deal.
Done deal. Already paid for. Contracts are signed. Construction has started to be finished the fall of 2026.
Okay.
So 3 million gallons are going to flow into Murray County. That means that Murray County draws from Columbia Power and Water roughly 1.9 million a day. Murray County's become independent, haven't they? They have. So that means Columbia Power and Water has lost a client, potentially, right? Now, if we spend an additional 51 million, Murray County Water, that 3 million can go to 7 million. Now, we got to get all the permits involved. We got to make sure that everything lines up. But from the conversations that I've had at the state, that's a real possibility.
Last night,
Yes.
what I assume that it was a packed house.
Oh, yeah. It was a packed house of pleased, not don't do this. Give the state and other people time to come up with a better solution.
Why the rush? It feels rushed, and maybe it's not. Maybe, Murphy, I'm just finding out about this. I mean, I feel like I have my finger on the pulse of local issues, and this is a pretty big, and I understand if you're up in Goodlettsville or you're up in Clarksville, you're like, but this is a pretty big issue, and eventually it'll affect you because you're going to have water issues too. But so in Middle Tennessee, this is a pretty big issue, and I'm just hearing about a lot of this. It feels like they are rushing to get this done. Columbia Power and Water is rushing to get a $500 million project where they borrow money from the state.
And the feds.
And
themselves. They have to go out on the market and borrow a bond.
All for the purpose of what? Keeping what is essentially a water monopoly?
And netting 5 million gallons a day.
For $500 million.
Now, here's where it gets complicated. If for $60 million, we can get 7 million gallons coming from the Harpeth area, right?
Mm-hmm.
To Murray County Water. Murray County Water can take 2 of that and become independent from Columbia Power and Water. That frees up 2 million gallons a day for Columbia Power and Water. Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
The additional 5, they could sell to Spring Hill to meet their needs because Murray County doesn't need it right now, right? That would free up an additional 5 million for Columbia Power and Water for a total of 7.
Yeah, but they don't get their monopoly.
But think about this. My job is to represent the people,
No,
right?
I get it.
Columbia Power and Water potentially could free up 7 million gallons of water a day, which is 2 million more than the $500 million would have bought them.
So you're saying that you can free up 7 million gallons
for
$60 million.
$60 million.
As opposed to
borrowing,
netting 5 million gallons
for $500 million.
$500 million.
Now, you don't have to be a banker on that one.
That's a pretty good rate.
But here's the thing. You asked the question, why the rush, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Because the longer we delve into this about the 7 million gallons and the $60 million price tag, it starts to make the other thing look ridiculous, doesn't it?
And this idea is coming from Columbia Power and Water. I mean, the entire idea of the intake and and I understand that there's a lot of different ideas circulating about water solutions. You're presenting one that seems very appealing.
At least look at it.
Right. But this idea is coming from Columbia Power and Water, right?
That's correct.
Why did the city council approve of it, to the best of your understanding?
I think that they believe, from what they've been told by Columbia Power and Water, this is the best solution.
Have they listened to other solutions, or do you know?
We tried to tell them that. I tried to, what I just told you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had to do in 3 minutes.
Right.
Okay, that's pretty tough.
Yeah.
I would love to put Murray County Water, Mount Pleasant, Spring Hill, Columbia, Marshall, right? I would love to put them all in the same room and let TDEC come down with Harpeth Valley, and say, okay, how do we make this work and be the most cost effective? Because here's the problem, Matt. Just because Columbia Power and Water and the Spring Hill City Council say they want to move forward with that $500 million, well, there's another group called TBOR up in the state that is a financial institution, and they have to go through another board. I think it's called TLDA. That is the state treasurer, the state comptroller, the secretary of state, the head of finance, and I think 2 other people. They've got to make sure that this is the best use.
Right.
Because here's the thing, Matt. Nashville, right? That's a big city, right? They don't borrow $500 million.
Right.
We've got
could the state, real quick, because I know we've got to take a break there, RJ, but could the state just say no?
Yes. Because if they deem that it could jeopardize that utility financially, they have an obligation to protect it.
I feel like on its face, if there are other more cost-effective solutions to the water issues, if we're talking about Normandy Dam, all right, that's one for long term. And you just presented something in 10 minutes that makes a hell of a lot more sense to me than borrowing $500 million.
It should
and putting the ratepayers on the note for 150% increases.
Oh, by the way, it's a 20-year solution with a 30-year borrowing.
This plan of theirs?
Yeah. Now, if it comes back.
So you're telling me they're going to need water before they even pay off the note?
That's correct.
This is a no-brainer, man.
If it's possible that you could, if you're Columbia Power and Water and you need capacity, right? If it's possible that Murray County Water might go ahead with the state's help and borrow the money to get you the freedom of 7 million more gallons, and it doesn't cost you a dime.
Yeah, but they eat into your monopoly.
There you go.
That's
because you got to play well together.
Right. All right. Quick time out, 51 after the hour. Scott Spicky's with us, bringing some receipts and bringing some good info. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. Cover Nash is your go-to resource for all things health insurance. I know there's a lot of concern and a lot of questions about health insurance right now because we don't know what premiums are doing in 2026, and the government certainly isn't going to be there to solve this or to bail us out of anything. You need an expert that can help you figure out the best path of action for you individually and your family. I promise you the government's not concerned about you individually, but I know someone who is. It's Shane Ring in Cover Nash. He can search the entire marketplace. He can make sure that he is doing the right thing by you when it comes to your health insurance. And you need that. If you're tired of health insurance that feels like a mathematics exam, if you're tired of health insurance that feels like it serves the government and the insurance companies and not you, the customer, it's time to call Shane Ring and Cover Nash. Give him a call and let him sit down with you today in Brentwood, or he can do it on phone. 615-465-0023, 465-0023, or covernash.com. That's covernash.com.
Brace yourself for what you're going to wake up to this weekend. I'll tell you about it coming up at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. I feel like we're just scratching the surface on this issue with Representative Scott Sapicki, and we only have about 3 more minutes before Ken Weaver's newscast, and Friday is after that. But let's get to the bottom line. The council voted to approve this plan.
The first reading.
First reading of the plan, 4-3.
Yes.
And there's a second reading.
In January.
And that will be the final vote?
Yes, that's
so
correct.
This is not a done deal.
That's correct. Well, it's not a done deal at the local level. It still has to go to the state.
Okay, so they have to vote on it again, and then it goes to the state.
Yes, my plan is in January is to continue to gather the information, continue working with Murray County Water and Harpeth Valley, continue putting this whole thing together, right? And then bring TBOR and TDEC down to the Columbia City Council and give accurate information about what it's going to cost, $500 million, and what exactly the rates are going to have to be, because what the rates were said yesterday are not even close to what I was told by TDEC's people.
So, I mean, it feels if there is a better solution that costs less, or if there is an equally good solution,
outcome-wise,
that costs 10% of what they're saying their plan is going to cost.
Yes.
This is a no-brainer.
And I think that's where the state comes in and says, wait a second. Because they have to make sure it's the best use for this state money, right? Because it's a state grant. Or it's a state loan. I shouldn't say a grant. It's a state loan of money. They got to pay it back. And you don't want to take a utility that size that borrows on the size of Nashville and Memphis and possibly jeopardize their future.
I love the info. Thank you for getting to the bottom of it. I knew that you would come with some good and valuable information. We're going to continue talking about it, and we're going to make sure that every person affected by this is well aware of that next meeting at the Columbia City Council, because they need to be there. We need to overrun the place.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Merry Christmas.
And I'm sad to note that I can't give Scott hell for being my poor representative, because he's telling me that he will not be my representative.
I will not.
In Mount Pleasant. Oh, but you'll be next door to me.
I'm sure you'll call.
I'm gonna dump my hey Ken, I'm
sure you'll call.
I'm gonna dump my trash in Sapicki's district.
Do you know who I know, officer?
Don't you know who I am?
I can see it now. Trooper,
call Sapicki. He'll tell you to rip that dang ticket to shreds.
Trooper, don't you know who I know? And I'll go, Matt who? Some loudmouth blowhard I know of.
Throw him in
Love
the jail.
everybody.
See you there, Sapicki. Here comes Ken.
Four o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Channel 4's Lisa Spencer says brace yourself for an Arctic blast this weekend.
Cold air really arrives late night Saturday into early on Sunday. That's when we're going to see wind gusts over 20 miles an hour, with the temperatures at 18 coming up on Sunday morning.
Yeah, I got the full forecast, a traffic update in 5 minutes. Fired University of Michigan football coach Sharon Moore arraigned virtually today, charged with 3 crimes against his alleged mistress, including home invasion and stalking. ABC News legal analyst Brian Buckmeyer says it looks like Moore will get out of jail sometime soon.
This is a former Michigan coach, and so he does have the means. That's why you're hearing a lot of them talk about when you do get out, you will have a monitored tether. When you do get out, you have to abstain from certain items like alcohol and substance abuse. And if he does violate those, he can actually be brought back into jail, potentially have a higher amount of bond or bail, or not be released at all.
Yeah, the judge setting $25,000 bail, ordering Moore to wear a GPS tether ahead of a court appearance January 22nd. Tennessee high schools may soon see Turning Point USA clubs as part of a new statewide initiative. These chapters, branded as Club America, designed to encourage students to engage in political and cultural discussions. And Turning Point USA Senior Director Josh Tifo in Nashville says anyone trying to block them could face legal challenges.
They have added some teeth to the agreement so that any bad guy listening right now it's not a good idea to try to intimidate that 15-year-old and say they can't start a Turning Point chapter, because you could get a call from the AG's office. Not pleasant.
And the program modeled after launches in Texas, Oklahoma, and Florida, and TIFO says there are more to come. Big changes coming to Tennessee's SNAP program. Starting next year, sugary snacks and drinks will be off the list, that is, while some hot prepared foods will be added. The USDA approved the state's request to ban items with sugar as the main ingredient. Officials hope the shift will fight chronic disease and improve nutrition for families and be a better use of taxpayer money. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is free after a federal judge ruled ICE had no authority to keep him in custody. And a temporary restraining order now prevents ICE from redetaining him during scheduled check-ins, says Mola Linge.
There was concern among his supporters that during this check-in at the federal building here this morning that he would be redetained by immigration officials. But as Abrego Garcia walked into the building here in Baltimore, a judge granting his attorneys a temporary restraining order, banning the government essentially from redetaining him, if you will, at least for now.
Yeah, Abrego Garcia is scheduled to stand trial on human smuggling charges here in Nashville starting January 26th. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, we picked up a crash going 40 westbound at Fessler's Lane, Belmont area, 440 eastbound at Hillsborough Pike, 21st Avenue. About to clean that one up. Over by the airport, look for a crash 40 westbound at Briley Parkway East. About to clean up a crash in Antioch, 24 eastbound before Harding Place. Then Hillwood, got a stalled vehicle, left shoulder block, 40 westbound at Charlotte Pike. Talbot's Corner, 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. I'm Ken Weaver.
All right, here we go. Hour number 2, Super Talk 99.7. Oh, I forgot to ask RJ a question. RJ, I forgot to ask you a question off air, so I'm going to ask you a question on air. Did Jackson tell you how we, the music that you play when we do the introduction for this hour?
Yes, he did.
Oh, okay, he did. Okay, very good. All right, well, I'll call for that, and we'll do that in just a moment. After we remind you, you're listening to the Matt Murphy Radio Show. We thank you for doing so. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I got my Christmas. Y'all see I got my Christmas shirt on? It's Cousin Eddie's RV park. Yeah, that's my Christmas attire. Anyway, we'll get to your questions, your thoughts, your comments. If you have any question of a legal variety, then now's the time to get it in because we're about to introduce you to Fry J. Before we do that, thank you to Scott Sapicki for coming on and giving a little bit of sanity to the situation from last night. Apparently, as I can understand it, Columbia Power and Water, which holds a relative monopoly on water resources in and around Murray County, and I say relative monopoly because Spring Hill has other resources. There are other options for some of these municipalities that buy from Columbia Power and Water, but they want to hold on to the power structure and the households, I suppose, that they have as a municipality. And in doing so, they've decided that the best course of action to increase their ability to provide water to a growing community is to borrow $500 million from the state and feds. This would require a 150% rate increase over the next several years. And so 150% of $100 total is $250. And some were struggling with that math. 100% of 100 is 100. 150% of 100 is 150. And you add the original 100 together with 150, and that's $250. Everybody understand that? So if you're paying in Murray County, if you're with Columbia Power and Water, and you're paying $100 a month, and that's a pretty sizable water bill. But we had people yesterday telling us that was their water bill. $100 a month today, 5 years from now, you're paying $250. Now, that's a month. So that's $150 additional per month, and that's, $1,800 extra dollars a year. That is not a small increase. What Sapicki was saying last hour, if you missed any of it, is that there are other solutions involving other water resources and other places that can access more water. The Murray County water system has an ability to access, and for a lot less money, they can provide water for their customers without having to rely on Columbia Power and Water, freeing up water for Columbia Power and Water. It all involves just working together and acting as good neighbors. And so you can take a $500 million price tag and turn it into a price tag of about $61 million, according to Sapicki, and accomplish the exact same thing. Well, why in the hell wouldn't we do that? Well, that's the question. The only answer that I can come up with that question to that question is that Columbia Power and Water wants to keep its monopoly. Well, that's not a good enough answer. So we're going to get to the bottom of all of this. If anyone at Columbia Power and Water, and I know y'all are listening, if anyone at Columbia Power and Water wants to refute any of this, or if you want to offer your side of the story, I am ready, I'm listening, and you know where we are. Just give us a call. With all of that in mind, it's 10 minutes after the hour, and ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Fry J.
Good morning, Americans. It's Friday.
Yeah. Oh, as we welcome Jay St. Clair to the show, always good to talk with Jay. He's a good man. He's our legal correspondent. He's my best friend. And the only place that I would rather be than right here on the radio with him has been over a craps table. Maybe not even in Tunica. Maybe in... Well, no, you were right. All right, so pull that down. RJ, pull that down. Pull Jay down. You're going to have to figure out why that's doing that. And I don't know what to tell you, but you're right. It's looping. There's something on the board, or there's something going on where it's creating a loop, and that will be untenable. What we can do if we can't figure it out, RJ, is we can reroute to a telephone call.
Okay.
But yeah, try pull him back up one more time. Hey, Jay, you there?
Testing.
Yeah, I can hear it. We got it. It's like you've got a Can you hear that helicopter sound, Jay?
Yeah, I can barely hear y'all.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'll tell you what we'll do, RJ. We're going to reroute to plan B. So pull that down. Pull him off. And I'm going to send you his number. Actually, RJ, I don't know that I have your number. Interesting. Why don't I'll tell you what, I'll write it down. You can come in here and get it. I'll get you Jay's cell phone number. Do you have his cell phone number? I actually, can you access the phone directory in there on the phones? You know what I'm talking about?
I should be able to access the directory. If you want to just write down the number, I'll run and grab it.
Yeah. I'll do that because that'll be the easiest way to do this. My apologies. RJ is doing a great job, y'all, and I appreciate his work in the apps. Jackson abandoned us. Ken, did you get that? You in there? Ken? Did you get that message from Jackson earlier?
No.
Did you see? Well, he must have just sent it to me.
What's he doing? What's he saying?
He said that he is the message was, I'm knee deep in the moonshine. The first three are nines. Just saying. Yeah, he said I'm knee deep in the moonshine, and I'm like, well, you should call in. I mean, my goodness. He declined the opportunity to call in.
That would be something.
Jackson on the
moonshine.
You know, I sent him back a vomit emoji. Oh, he sent me a view from the top. I can't believe he's not. I'm going to say this to him. I cannot believe you're not including Ken Weaver in these beautiful pictures.
That's the moonshine. He forgot about it.
It must be the moonshine talking. He is showing me his view from his cabin in Gatlinburg now. So now he's just messing with it.
Now he's just making us jealous.
Mm-hmm. Don't you have something? You're going off somewhere this weekend, aren't you?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, who was I talking to that told me they were doing something this weekend besides Jackson?
That's probably Brother Jackson.
Maybe so. Maybe I'm just confused. We do also have, this is very sweet. Someone has written in and says, the two newest listeners to Super Talk 99.7 WTN, my grandbabies, Elizabeth Rose and Michael Francis.
Well.
And they look brand new.
Really?
Yes. I mean, they look fresh out, if you know what I mean.
That is a proud grandparent.
Elizabeth Rose and Michael Francis, the newest listeners of the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. How about that? That's pretty cool.
I'm going to text Jackson and ask him how drunk he is.
That's pretty funny. The questions are coming in for Friday, and we just have to get Jay settled in, and I think we do. I'm going to lock him in here. Jay, you there? Jay St. Clair rejoins us on the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Pot him up there, RJ. Hey, Jay.
Hey, buddy.
Man,
Yes,
you sound great.
There he is.
There you go. That's much better. You sounded like you were, on our end, you sounded like you were in a helicopter in Vietnam.
Well, I was in the moonshine a little bit.
You know about that. Jay, let's restart because I have a question for you.
Okay.
How you doing?
You know, man, if I were any better, I would be Michael Jordan.
Yeah, Michael Jordan's doing pretty good today. I mean, well, Michael Jordan was doing pretty good yesterday and the day before and the day before that, but he's doing pretty good today, too.
Oh, that's just the whole thing's just amazing.
Well, you called it, brother, and I have learned to lean on your knowledge and your acumen in these situations, and just you have such great institutional instinct. And you said, "Listen, Matt, this isn't going to a jury. This is going to settle," and it did.
Well, the funny story I've got, and I know we're probably coming up on a break, but I was trying a case in federal court years ago. It was actually down in Mobile. And the jury was out, been out for a while. I was outside checking the weather, as we say.
Uh-huh.
And the other lawyer was out there with me. He made a new offer, and I said, well, I'll take it to my client, and we'll see. And then at that moment, the marshal came out, the United States Marshal, said, come on, we got a verdict.
Oh.
I said, huh. So we go up to the courtroom, and I tell my client, I said, look, they just offered X, and you got 45 seconds to decide.
What? 45 seconds.
But you got 45 seconds because the jury, they got a verdict, and the judge is coming in, is about to call a jury in.
Uh-huh.
And so he said, well, what do I do? I said, well, you can get hit, whatever, it's your money. He said, well, let's take it. And so the judge comes in and says, well, I understand we got a verdict. And I said, well, Your Honor, before you do that, I think we have the case settled. And he turned to me and said, Mr. St. Clair, you better do better than think. And I said, Your Honor, the defendant accepts the plaintiff's last offer.
Uh-huh.
And then he turned to the plaintiff and said, well, what do y'all say? And it was a woman suing, her husband was there. And they said, yeah, okay. And then the judge said, well, I've never had this happen before. And I said, well, I think y'all just dismiss the jury and, we'll go on. And he said, well, I think what I'll do is I'll take their verdict, but I won't read it and then tell them the case has been settled. And so that's what we did. And of course, everybody wanted to know, who won. Yeah, it was crazy.
Did he not tell? Would he not tell you? He wouldn't tell you.
No, well, that's what happened is we finished all the stuff in the courtroom. He dismissed the jury and whatnot. And then I said, Your Honor, counsel would like to see you in your chambers. And he said, well, of course you would. And so we went in there and said, well, everybody wants to know what the jury did. Right? And so we asked him how he would have decided the case because it was a question of whether we even should have had a jury or not. And then he says, well, let's see what the jury said. And the case settled for, well, I guess I can say now, I think it settled for like $50,000.
Uh-huh.
He opens it up. We, the jury, find in favor of the plaintiff and award $400,000.
You felt pretty good, didn't you?
And I said, thank you, Your Honor. We enjoyed being in your court. I went out and grabbed my client and said, let's get out of here as quick as we can.
Let's get the heck out of here with our money. It reminds me, that we'd like to see you in your chambers. In poker, there's a phrase called rabbit hunting.
Uh-huh.
And what it means is if you fold or if someone folds before you see the last card.
Yeah, you want to know.
You want to know what that last card is. And some casinos let you rabbit hunt, but most don't because they don't want to get into all of that because it can create some real frustration on the part of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, you had to get back in those chambers and rabbit hunt a little bit and see what's going on.
Oh yeah, no, everybody wanted to know. It was funny. So anyway, I've cases settle often on the courthouse steps. Although I'd say here, Matt, and I could talk about this, for hours. But did you see the letter that the founder of Bass Pro Shops wrote?
I did not.
Well, that put a lot of pressure on NASCAR.
Yeah.
Because he is a big money guy.
Yeah.
And,
spends a lot of money on those cars.
Spends a lot of money on NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
And, he told him, y'all need to settle this.
Yeah. Well, let's take a quick break, and then we can catch people up. It's a great legal story, great legal case, and obviously it's of interest to us because we're NASCAR fans, racing fans. But even if it's not, it's a very interesting situation. We will continue with Jay St. Clair. John's got a legal question, a lot of them coming in on the super text line. If you've got a question of a legal variety, now's the time to get it in. It is free legal advice on the Matt Murphy Radio Show. And as my friend Jay St. Clair likes to say, free legal advice is worth every penny you pay for it. 615-737-9986. Back in a moment. Hi, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and let's talk for a moment about your European automobile. One of the marks of a good parent, they warn their kids about danger, who to trust, what to avoid, how to make smarter choices. Friends, Eurofix does the same thing. They want you to avoid the poor choices and come to the right place. That would be, Eurofix. I'll just give you an example, and Aaron Stokes has told this story before, that Eurofix polices themselves, and here's an example of that story. They wrote a refund check to a customer recently for $5,500 because of they owed the customer that money, and they police themselves. They don't oversell. They're not going to cut corners, and they're not going to make you pay for something that you did not need. Some may not know what to do in the automobile industry. Others might make you pay for things you don't need, but you don't have to worry about that at Eurofix. They make quality repairs at below dealer pricing and have since 1999. Get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection, a 36,000-mile 3-year nationwide warranty on all work, rental cars available at every appointment. Stay on the road with Eurofix. 844-EUROFIX, 844-EUROFIX, or myeurofix.com, myeurofix.com. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for Genesis Diamonds. They really shine this time of year. They shine all the year long because of all of the sparkly diamonds that you find inside of Genesis. But this time of year, it's especially evident. They've got the best gifts, the highest quality diamonds at the guaranteed best and lowest prices around. Whether it's diamond bracelets, eternity bands, earrings, pendants, colored stone jewelry, Rolex watches, and the like, they've got it at Genesis. And this December, you get the holiday jewelry that she wants for $0 down and no interest for 5 years on approved credit. You can go big without going broke. Just divide by 60, and that is your monthly payment. $6,000 home run gift that she'll be talking about for the rest of her life. Just $100 a month. Do the math. Genesis uses non-commissioned experts. They're ready to help you, and they will never try to pressure you into doing something you don't want to do. Plus, they've got a great holiday vault, which is a 50% off vault of great holiday gift-giving ideas right there at Genesis Diamonds. 2 locations, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Genesis Diamonds, the place for that spectacular holiday gift during the holiday season, only at Genesis.
Fired University of Michigan football coach Sharon Moore made his first court appearance today, and Tennessee high schools may soon have Turning Point USA clubs. These stories and more at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. That news coming up in about 5 minutes or so, thereabouts. It's about 4:25 right now. Your calls and your questions coming in of a legal variety on the phone lines with us, and Jay is on the phone with us too, our man Jay St. Clair, our legal expert. But I just want to get through this NASCAR story so everybody understands it, and then we'll get to some of your questions. So Jay, just give us as you like to say, the 100,000-foot view of what happened and how it got settled.
Well, a couple of the team owned by Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin and another team, a smaller team, felt like the deal with NASCAR that the teams had with NASCAR was unfair. That NASCAR was keeping too much of the money. Think of it kind of like the NBA. It's been a long time ago, man. But the teams got super rich. The players didn't make much money.
Mm-hmm.
And so they got together and almost kind of formed a union and said, no, wait a minute, we're going to redo this. And so they basically split the money 50-50. And same thing in professional football. And so these two teams wanted a better deal with NASCAR. None of the other teams would join them. They didn't like it, but they didn't want to pick that fight. But Michael Jordan's got more money than NASCAR. If it hadn't been for Michael Jordan, this lawsuit would not have been filed. And so they filed it, and NASCAR dug in. And so they went through the whole process. And so the Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin got all their internal emails.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how that goes, where they're saying all these nasty, ugly things about the teams. Called Richard Childress some really bad names. And all the financial stuff comes out, right? I mean, that's what they're fighting about is money. So we now know that NASCAR makes between $100 million and $200 million a year. We know that Denny Hamlin gets paid $14 million a year to drive a race car.
Wow.
And the lawyer said, well, that's a lot of money, isn't it? He said, yeah, I win a lot of races. Which makes me like Denny Hamlin even more. And it's still a little bit unclear if the teams are making money or not. Some of them probably are, some of them probably aren't. Jimmy Means wasn't making money racing.
Right.
Just, but Richard Chill
let me tell you, if Joe Gibbs isn't making any money, that's his fault because he's paying his driver $14 million a year.
Yeah, so anyway, they were just fighting about money, and NASCAR dug their heels in, and then, about 2/3 of the way through the trial, they settled.
So, and you predicted that either somewhere before or at some point that this settlement would happen. Do we know do we know any of those details, and will we ever know?
We won't know the real sort of a lot of the financial details. A big piece of it was the charter agreements. Almost think of them kind of like franchise agreements. This is something NASCAR put in about 10 years ago, man. And teams that have charters are, number one, are guaranteed a starting spot in every race. And then number two, they share in a pool of money that's separate from the prize money that's posted for the race. And but they only lasted for like 5 years. And after 5 years, they could go away. And the main thing that Jordan and Hamlin wanted is he wanted those agreements to be evergreen, that they're forever. And they got that, and we know that NASCAR agreed to make that part of it public.
So if you have if you have a charter
right now, you're going to have a charter for the rest of your life. Unless you sell it.
Right. I guess that doesn't mean that you don't have to pay a certain amount of does that involve paying a certain amount of money every year?
No, it means getting a certain amount of money every year.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, that's good news. I guess it's good news for NASCAR that if NASCAR's making, what'd you say they're making, 1 to 200 million?
Between $100 million and $200 million a year. Now, it's just NASCAR. That's not the tracks or anything else. Their gross receipts are over $1 billion a year. But that's TV and all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
But yeah, so what it means is it's going to put some more money in the pockets of the teams and make them more viable. And they've lost advertising dollars in NASCAR. You remember, used to a team had a sponsor. They had a sponsor.
Right.
And Richard Petty was the STP car for the whole year.
Every week.
Tony Stewart was the Home Depot car for the whole week. Jeff Gordon was the DuPont car every week.
And now, you never know what colors they're going to be sporting because they have to subdivide the car.
Yeah, because no sponsor is going to write a $20 million check for the whole year.
Well, and you see them getting moved around from network television to to some cable outlets, and that's fine. I get it. The world changes, and they'll probably never get back to where they were in 97, 98 as probably the zenith.
Well, I can't even figure out how to watch the Andy Griffith Show. It's really pretty easy. You just turn it on TBS. And it ran pretty much around the clock.
Listen, if it weren't for TBS, I wouldn't know anything about Andy Griffith. I wouldn't know anything about Gilligan's Island.
Or the Atlanta Braves.
Or the Atlanta Braves. Or the Father Knows Best.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't know anything about any of that.
Life was simpler back then.
It was. All right, we'll get to all of your questions coming up in just a moment. We're going to put let me see. Let me get him on hold there. So Rodney and Ben and Jennifer and Matt and John, all with the legal questions. We'll get to it next. You're listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's time for the news with Ken Weaver in the newsroom.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. In Ann Arbor, Michigan today, fired University of Michigan football coach Sharon Moore made his first court appearance since his arrest in a home invasion and stalking case allegedly involving a former mistress who was a staff member. ABC's Olivia Rubin reports Moore was ordered to have a GPS monitor before he's released on a $25,000 bond with strict conditions, including mental health treatment.
There's a couple sort of terms the judge laid out, one of them being the mental health treatment, also saying that Moore should not drink alcohol, obviously that he not contact the victim in this case, that he not leave the state.
Tennessee high schools may soon see Turning Point USA clubs as part of a new statewide initiative. These chapters, branded as Club America, are designed to encourage students to engage in political and cultural discussions. And Turning Point USA Senior Director Josh Tifo in Nashville says anyone trying to block them could face legal challenges. Here he is on WTN's Chris Hand Show.
Immediate legal action against any teacher or administrator who tries to intimidate our students in any way, tries to keep them from forming chapters, which just pours gasoline on our growth.
The program is modeled after launches in Texas, Oklahoma, and Florida. And starting next year, Tennessee will limit SNAP purchases to sugary foods and beverages. Soda and will limit SNAP purchases of sugary foods and beverages. Soda, candy, and other sweetened items will be restricted under a new federal waiver. In exchange, SNAP recipients can buy certain hot foods like rotisserie chicken. Leaders say the changes aim to encourage healthier choices statewide and better use of taxpayer money. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, got a crash going northbound on 65 right after Wedgwood. I-40 westbound approaching Fessler's Lane, then 40 westbound at Charlotte Pike, and 40 westbound over by the airport at Briley Parkway. 24 eastbound in Antioch, a crash right before Harding Place. And then in Jolton, we've got an injury crash, 24 eastbound at Whites Creek Pike. I'm Ken Weaver.
Friends, you know me, and you know I love to I have an adventurous spirit. I mean, I think that's fair for me to say. I do. And if you're looking for the adventurous spirit, something in the Christmas holiday realm, what about a Christmas gift of an introductory flight experience from Tennessee Flight Training? Whether you or your special someone dreams of becoming a professional pilot, or you're just looking to fulfill a bucket list item, Tennessee Flight Training will fulfill your aviation dreams this holiday. Meet and fly with a certified instructor from any of their 3 Middle Tennessee locations, Nashville B&A, Murray County Airport, or Shelby Municipal. Step inside of the aircraft and learn to fly on your very first day. I went up in a Cessna, and I was flying that Cessna. I couldn't believe it. I was flying the Cessna while I was in the aircraft on the first day. You're never too old or too young to learn to fly. Take advantage of this introductory flight experience. And know this, if you're thinking about a career change, and help yourself and help your family, the airline industry is in need of pilots, and you can get trained to become a pilot. Believe it. Save $100 when you purchase an introductory flight experience before December 24th. Go to tnflighttraining.com. That's tnflighttraining.com or 615-366-9192. 366-9192. The skies are calling. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. As promised, we're going to get to your telephone calls right now with our man, our legal expert, Jay St. Clair. He's on the line with us this afternoon on this First Amendment Freestyle Friday edition of Jay. And I believe the first legal question we have is from John. John, you're on with Jay St. Clair. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hey, Jay and Matt. Appreciate you taking my call.
Of course.
Yes, sir. What's going on, John?
I've got a situation where I'm doing a top-to-bottom remodel on a house that we own. I hired an electrician, licensed contractor out of Murfreesboro area. House is down in McMinnville. He did some work up front. This is back in April of this year. Did some work up front. Took a deposit of $5,500 and didn't come back for about 6 months.
Yes.
Are you still there? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're here. We're here, John. We're listening.
How much? So you got ahead of him, didn't you, John? You gave him money up front before he started work.
Gave him money up front, and I probably know better than I've done a lot of remodels in the past. Probably shouldn't have done that, but paid him $5,500 deposit.
Yeah, for anybody listening, don't do that. If a contractor says that they got to have money up front, then walk away from that contractor.
Yeah,
they're not liquid enough. That's just a bad sign.
Yeah, on the surface,
so now,
he looked very
now you're out
professional.
money. He owes you money right now, and my guess is you're asking me, what can you do about it?
But yeah, the whole story is I've paid him about $10,000 at this point. He did a rough end of the wiring, and then
how much work do you think he's done? You paid him $10,000 to do how much work?
The total quote was $12,000 to do a rewire, panel upgrade, trim out, the full deal.
How much has he done? How much has he done?
How much has he done?
By my estimation, he's probably done maybe 50% of the work.
Okay,
and
so he's done $6,000, and you paid him $10,000. Do you want him to finish the job?
He actually quit the job, and I've had to hire another licensed electrician to come finish the job. Cost me about another $5,000.
Yeah. So you just gonna have to sue him, John.
You got to sue him. Yeah.
That's all you can do is you just sue him, and you can do it yourself. You can file it. What's your producer's name?
RJ is the man behind the mic.
But you know what? We'll ask Ken Lever. Ken, are you listening?
Yes, sir. Ken's back there.
Ken,
Yes, sir.
John is going to have to sue this no-count contractor.
Yes, sir.
And I want you to tell him the 2 things he needs to have to sue this guy.
A crayon and $140.
That's all you
got
need,
that.
John.
That's
That's
true.
all you need. You don't need a lawyer. You don't need a lawyer. You can you'll file it in General Sessions Court. What county do you live in?
We live in Davidson County. The house is actually in Warren County.
Yeah, well, since you're, it'd probably be better to file in Warren County.
Mm-hmm.
Smaller county, it'll move along quicker. Just go on the internet, look for the General Sessions Court of Warren County. And they have all the forms on there, John. It's actually pretty user-friendly. And you can file a lawsuit yourself. I wouldn't mess around with will the guy even talk to you now?
He's gone radio silent at this point. He
yes.
verbally agreed to give me a refund of $4,000 and then disappeared.
Right. Yeah, so you just got to sue him. That's all you can do.
Let us know how it goes, John.
$140. We joke about the crayon. You can actually, the forms are online. And I've advised several people to do that, and I've heard back from them, and they got good results. You'll get a judgment against him. I'll just go ahead and tell you right now, John, the hardest part of it is getting the money. You'll get a piece of paper from the court saying that he owes you whatever he owes you. He owes you $5,000. You will get that. But then the hard part is actually getting the money.
And tell him, once you get that judgment against him, just tell him you're going to go on a 100,000-watt radio station and talk about his business or his lack of professionalism and, do what you need to do, John. Yeah. Lean on it.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, brother.
I appreciate your help. Thank you so much.
100%.
Yep,
Thank
thanks
you.
for the call. And let me, again, just tell everybody, if you're having the home improvement work done, do not advance them money up front. Don't do it. If they're asking you to do that, they're not a solid business.
Right. They should not need I mean,
they'll be able to buy the
materials and all of that. That's what those shady people say. Well, I got to buy materials. You understand that?
If they're not substantial enough to buy that on their own, don't do business with them because you're going to end up in the exact same spot that John's in.
Matt is next up with a legal question for Jay. Hello, Matt.
Hey, how are you guys?
Doing well.
I need some high-quality free advice for a friend. How's that sound?
Well, you called the right place, man. and I appreciate the fact that it's your friend.
Let's see. Last year, I worked for a large, publicly traded, actually German-owned but U.S.-based, domiciled in Texas. Sold a deal at the beginning of the year, got paid in February, then I left the company for a better job.
Right.
And software, typically 4 to 8 month implementation process. That contract got slowed and has yet to be implemented, so they haven't recognized any revenue. But less than about 30 days after I gave them a 2-week notice, they sent a collection agency after me for the commission paid, stating that I had a clawback provision, which I did in my employment agreement, not a contract.
Right.
Now they're coming after me for the whole boat.
Right.
Does a clawback clause apply?
If that is the written document that describes how they're going to pay you, it's absolutely enforceable. And you don't have to sign it. If they just say, Matt, here's how we're going to pay you. When you sell a deal, we're going to pay you up front what we think the income is going to be on the deal. But if for whatever reason, if we don't get that payment, then you got to pay us back.
In perpetuity, termination or not. Okay.
Yep,
all right.
Yep. No,
I just didn't know if they were.
I'm so sorry, but that's just the way it goes.
Well, is what it is. Well, I appreciate that high quality free advice.
Well, tell your friend I'm sorry.
I'll do it. All right. Oh, hey, Matt, just real quick, not to be negative, but back to the Columbia situation where the city approved that.
Yeah.
My question is, what's getting floated under the table?
It's a good question. No, Matt, it's a good, and I promise you, this Matt is trying to get to the bottom of that, Matt, and we're going to try to do our best to get to the bottom of that and to inform you, Matt, as to what the heck's going on in Columbia, because I'm about to be a new resident of Murray County. By the way, I haven't told you that yet, Jay.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah, we put an offer in on the house, which was accepted. I need to send you some pictures.
Nice.
Maybe I can get Jay, now that we have an in-law suite.
Yeah, I was going to say, what does the guest room look like?
Well, the guest situation just got a lot better. You won't have to share a bed with Munson and Mrs. Beasley anymore.
Well, can I bring Olivia?
Yeah, you can. We're gonna have 2 acres, about half of it fenced. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Well, we'll
talk about that. Rodney is next up with a question for Jay St. Clair. Rodney, you're on.
Hello, fellas. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yep, got you, Rodney.
I just want to give you a backstory real quick. I'm from Arizona. I've been in Tennessee since 2010.
You're a Yankee?
Since I've been in Tennessee, me and my wife, we have 5 kids together, same woman, all kids, me and my wife. And I wanted to be able to, when I was younger, I got in a little bit of trouble. I had some domestic violences and some drug charges. I'm 46 years old now, and I haven't been in trouble since I was, late 90s. And so I paid an attorney to reestablish my rights in the state of Arizona. In the state of Arizona, they do a set aside. They don't do an expungement. So you can still see stuff on my record, but they gave me all my rights back. So in the state of Arizona, I can go to Arizona and I could purchase firearms in Arizona, and I can vote. And then here in Tennessee, they said that they don't recognize another state set aside, and they won't recognize that. So I can't buy a gun here. But if they weren't giving me my rights back, why is it okay for me to vote, but I can't own a gun?
Well, they don't take away all your
rights.
That? Yeah, they don't take away all your rights. I have not looked at that specific question, Rodney. I get it that if the conviction were in Tennessee and you were trying to get that nullified, then, the whole process would be in Tennessee. The convictions were in Arizona, right?
Correct.
Right. And so
I've never been in no trouble in Tennessee. But if I was to be in trouble in Tennessee, Tennessee would give me an expungement, and it wouldn't be on my record, and they give me my rights.
I just haven't looked at that situation where the convictions are in one state and now you're living in a different state. And
I'm being punished by a different state that I never got in trouble with.
Well, but that's the way. I'll tell you where this happened. Well, there's other crimes where that's true too. But each state's entitled to do their own thing. They can treat prior convictions however they want to under their law. I'm just going to tell you it's an uphill battle, Rodney, but let me research that, and I won't be able to do it today during the show, but I'll make a note of it, and whatever I find, I will say on air next week, which means that you got to tune in next week to hear the answer.
Jay, you're talking my line. Now, I love the way you're talking.
All right, listen.
I'm a loyal listener, so I listen every Friday.
Well, Rodney, if you listen, I promise you, Jay's good as his word, and he'll figure something out for you.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for the call, Rodney.
Thank you for the call, Rodney. That's rough stuff, but we'll thank you, Jay, for trying to get him an answer. I almost said
that's
but
that's going to be a tough. Yeah, why don't I'm going to get my research assistant Matt to do that.
Get on that. Well, just don't let her get squirreled. You know what I mean? If that's the research assistant, I think you're thinking of. All right, Ben. I'll tell you what. We'll maybe squeeze Ben or Jennifer or AJ and Logan, not necessarily in that order. Lots of calls. 51 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Got to do this right now. Hey, folks, Matt Murphy for Men of Valor. Men of Valor, what a wonderful organization. During the holiday season, a lot of giving spirit going on in and around the radio station and in and around your heart. I know that you're giving souls because I talk to you on a regular basis. Well, if you're thinking about giving this charitable season, I encourage you to think about Men of Valor. What a wonderful job they do, lowering recidivism in the state of Tennessee, and by doing so, making us a safer place and costing you less money. They take recidivism rates nationally in the 70s and turn them into rates under 15% for their graduates at the Men of Valor program. Your support helps provide critical funding for the Men of Valor Valor Ridge residential facility. It's a discipleship academy for the formerly incarcerated, and because of your support, they provide home and a healthy environment for up to 93 men at a time in Nashville and an additional 30 men in Knoxville. And they're going to expand those programs throughout the state of Tennessee. They maintain close relationships with their graduates to make sure they're on track, and that's great news as well. They turn takers into givers in our society. Will you give? Volunteer if you can. Give if you will to Men of Valor. Go to movministry.com. That's movministry.com. Hi, friends. Matt Murphy for Contours LLC. Folks, I've tried it, and it works. I've noticed the pounds coming off. I've noticed the size shrinking. My pants are fitting better. My shirts are fitting better. My belts are fitting looser. Why? Because of Contours LLC. Look, the red light technology, I don't know that. I'm going to be honest with you, folks. I didn't know that I believed it either. Because it sounds so good to be true, right? You can have non-invasive red light therapy, and that helps you lose weight. How does that work? Talk to Keith and Stephanie. They can explain the science of it. Here's the bottom line. The red light therapy helps get rid of the fat naturally without incisions. It is painless, it's effective, it's safe, and it works. Get rid of those love handles, your gut, your man boobs, your neck, wherever you want to lose that weight. Get the fat off with Contours LLC. Call today and ask about the Murph. That is a package extending into 2026 that can save you a lot of money and lose you a lot of weight, a lot of inches around that belly. 615-236-9960. 236-9960. For Contours LLC, online at contoursllc.com.
We'll tell you what happened during fired University of Michigan football coach Sharon Moore's arraignment today. Also, Tennessee schools will soon see Turning Point USA clubs. We'll tell you about these stories and more at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy. About 3 more minutes before we get out of here, and our man Jay St. Clair is going to answer as many as possible in those 3 minutes. Let's talk to Ben, who is next. I beg of y'all, we just have to go a little quicker than we normally would, trying to get as many in as we can. Hey, Ben, what's going on in your world? Hey, Ben? Hey, Ben?
That's not quick.
Man, this isn't starting good. All right, Ben, going once, Ben going twice. Love you, Ben. Sorry about that. Jennifer is next. Hey, Jennifer.
Hey. Big fans of both of you. I'll get to the point.
Yes, ma'am.
Jay, my husband and I and 2 children moved to Williamson County for the schools. We moved into a nice condominium. HOA board wanted access to our keys. We said no. So we let the agent have the key instead of 6 board members. And there's a pool there. Kids swam all summer long. Now we want to use the pool in the winter, but they keep these bright lights on at the pool in the winter. It is very obnoxious. It's like going to a soccer game or something with bright lights. And they won't turn them off. They won't put the dim lights on during the winter. So, we're rather peeved.
Right.
Is there anything we can do?
I would need to see your HOA agreement, Jennifer, to give you a very precise answer to that. But my guess is under that agreement, they reserve to themselves the decision of what kind of lighting to do at the pool. But I just get out your agreement, your HOA agreement, and read it and see if it says anything about it.
It's not in the HOA. It's not in there.
It doesn't say anything in the agreement.
There's
Well,
nothing.
it's their lights. So, if the agreement is silent on it, I think they're probably within their power or rights to say, well, we're going to decide what lights to use at the pool.
Jennifer, thank you for the call. We have to wrap it up there. I'm sad when this time comes every week where I get to have to say goodbye to my friend Jay St. Clair, but it comes. Jay, the bar is open, my friend. You have a great weekend.
Thank you, sir, and happy birthday to Michelle.
Happy birthday to Michelle. How about that? How about that? All right. Well, Jay, take care, brother. We'll see you. All right. Have a great weekend. There's Jay St. Clair. Off he goes. Hey, it's our anniversary show. 4 years in. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're going to talk about that coming up next.
5 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, tracking some very, very cold temperatures coming to Middle Tennessee. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. In Ann Arbor, Michigan today, fired University of Michigan football coach Sharon Moore made his first court appearance since his arrest in a home invasion and stalking case allegedly involving a former staff member who was his alleged mistress. ABC's Olivia Rubin reports Moore was ordered to have a GPS monitor before he's released on a $25,000 bond with strict conditions, including mental health treatment.
Prosecutors laying out during this hearing what they say unfolded, which was essentially after the victim ended a relationship with Moore, that 2 days later he showed up to her house, gained access to the home, grabbed knives, grabbed a scissor, and essentially said that he was going to harm himself.
Yeah, the married father of 3 fired and arrested on Wednesday. Prosecutors say Moore showed up at his executive assistant's apartment with those knives just hours after being fired, and he was arrested at a nearby church. Tennessee schools could soon see Turning Point USA clubs as part of a new statewide initiative. Conservative advocate and Nashville native Riley Gaines telling WTN's Chris Hanshow the plan was unveiled today alongside Governor Lee and other dignitaries.
What this partnership will do is put in Club America chapters, which is essentially equivalent to a Turning Point USA chapter that you see on college campuses. We have labeled it as Club America for high school chapters. This will put those in high schools across the state.
She says the Club America chapters are designed to encourage students to engage in political and cultural discussions. The program, modeled after successful launches in Texas, Oklahoma, and Florida. A Nashville man facing charges after a road rage incident on I-440. Police say Ronnie Glover threw a drink can at another driver for merging, then deliberately crashed into his car. Both men pulled over at the 65 split, and officers say Glover punched the victim several times, injuring him. Glover was arrested Thursday, charged with aggravated assault and vandalism. He released on bond, scheduled to appear in court on February 6th. And the same federal judge who freed Kilmar Abrego Garcia from immigration detention is now blocking ICE from detaining him again. ABC's Mola Lingay outside the courthouse in Baltimore.
The legal fight far from over. The restraining order that was granted to Garcia, that is temporary. So that we are expecting to find out a little more about what that hearing, when that hearing will be in the next couple of days. And of course, the Justice Department is expected to appeal yesterday's ruling.
U.S. officials are now bringing that seized Venezuelan oil tanker to Texas and threatening to seize other vessels while President Trump keeps threatening the country with a land attack. Here's Karen Travers.
He has not given an indication as to exactly the timeline he is looking at or what that type of land operation would be. Last week, the president said he knows the houses, he knows the routes that could be targeted as they continue this campaign against the drug cartels.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, we got a crash 40 westbound approaching Fessler's Lane, then 65 northbound at Rosa Parks Boulevard, 65 southbound before I-24, and then in Goodlettsville, a crash, Conference Drive at Vietnam Veterans, Belmont, 65 northbound after Wedgwood, and then in Sylvan Park, a stalled vehicle blocking the left shoulder. That's going to be 40 eastbound near Whitebridge Pike, Brawley Parkway. Hillwood, a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder, 40 westbound at Charlotte Pike. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is just after 5 o'clock. My name is Matt Murphy, and this is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Pleased to have you with us this Friday, December 12, 2025, episode 942 of our gatherings daily, Monday through Friday at least. It is officially the weekend, and we say happy weekend to those of you who have a day or two off. Now, I know many of you don't, and we love to congratulate and thank those of you that make our weekends special and make our weekends possible. I'm talking about firefighters and police officers, doctors and nurses, EMTs, those of you that work in emergency services, those of you that work to keep the lights on, those of you that work in the restaurants and the bars and the other places of convenience. If you're a worker or a manager and you work on the weekends, you weekend warriors, we say thank you from the Matt Murphy Show to you. We appreciate each and every one of you because you make our weekends even better, and we appreciate that. Now, I also want to offer a note of appreciation. We're going to get into the issue in Venezuela in a moment. I'd love to hear from you. It's a First Amendment Freestyle Friday after all. I love taking rando calls, and if you want to do that, we've cleaned out the legal questions. We were chock full of legal questions a minute ago, but we've cleaned those out. So 615-737-9986. Make RJ busy in there. No Jackson today. He'll be back Monday. He's off in Gatlinburg getting liquored up on moonshine liquor. I mean, that's per him, right, Ken?
Yes, sir.
I mean, he's not, I'm not telling secrets out of school.
No, sir.
He's being pretty clear about that. He said he's two moonshine shots and 2 fruity beers in.
Yeah, he said he was at a moonshine tasting.
Well, I mean, okay then.
He said something about taking the trophy to Dollywood, too.
Yeah, he's going to take her on the old Screaming Eagle. I believe
the
that
Screaming Eagle.
Was it the Spread Eagle or the Screaming? I guess it was the Screaming Eagle.
The Flying Eagle.
Oh,
no, it can't be a Flying Eagle.
The Screaming Eagle's at Six Flags.
It was not the Spread Eagle. I'm sorry, I said
Spread Eagle.
I didn't mean. Y'all, I didn't mean.
Maybe Jackson is Spread Eagle on the old Screaming Eagle.
No, it's not that.
Enough moonshine he will be.
Well, yeah, right there on the floor. So, no, I'm glad. He deserves a day. Oh, man, well, I don't know if he deserves it, but he's getting one. But RJ's doing a great job back there, controlling the knobs and making sure that everything that comes out of our speaker sounds as good as humanly possible. We appreciate that. And I appreciate each of you. You know, tomorrow is December 13th. As you might expect, that comes right after December 12th. And the day after that's my anniversary, and so happy anniversary to my lovely wife, Erica. And I have loved like 21 of the 23 years. I've loved every moment. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. That's a joke.
Yeah, boy.
I know. I'll get in trouble.
You're going to be getting a little gift like she gave me.
little Ritz cracker.
Low down, dirty.
Low down and dirty. But tomorrow is our anniversary, and that is yours and mine. I will never be comfortable with the reason why I had the opportunity to come to Nashville. Because the reason was that we lost the great Phil Valentine. And as a result, I drove up the road from Birmingham to Nashville and tried to make my way on Super Talk 99.7 WTN and introduce myself to the listening audience. That was 4 years ago. It seems like yesterday. I have loved every moment of it. I so appreciate all of you. I know that I infuriate some of you. I know that from time to time I tick all of you off on occasion, and that's okay too. I think we live in a day and age where we don't have enough of that. It's okay to disagree on some issues without becoming enemies. But I hope that we make your day a little brighter, make your day a little better, make your day a little more enjoyable, maybe a little more informed, a little more educated, and perhaps make you think a little bit as you drive home. But I do want to take an opportunity to thank you deeply from the bottom of my heart for giving me a chance in Nashville, for giving me an opportunity to speak to you on such a wonderful platform as Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It means the world to me that you spend a little time with me on a day-to-day basis. It really does, because you don't have to. You know, they pay me to be here. They don't pay you to be here. But the interesting thing is they pay me to be here. They don't pay you to be here. But if I didn't convince you to come here, they'd stop paying me to be here. So you're a pretty key cog in all of this. But beyond all of that, I consider us to be one big, happy, completely and utterly dysfunctional family. And I thank the likes of Dan Mandis for hiring me. I thank the likes of Allison Warren, who is down in, what did Dan used to call that? The corner of no? And then
the office of
no.
no.
The office of no. I thank wonderful folk. When I first got here, I was working with Bell Kay, and he's great. He's still here, obviously, producing Chad. I was working with Pamela Furr. Now I get the opportunity to work with the likes of Ken. Ken, I know you hate it when people tell you this, but I'm going to do it anyway. You are the best radio newsman I've ever worked with.
Well, thanks, Brother Murphy.
And I don't think people understand just how good you are. I hope they do. But you are fabulous at what you do, and it's an honor to work with you on a day-to-day basis. It really is.
Same here, brother. I'm having the time of my life.
We're having a good time. And RJ, it's good to work with you today.
Brother RJ.
Well, hey, I appreciate the praise. Thank you.
And you know what? As a matter of fact, I'm starting to get annoyed at Jackson. How dare he leave on our anniversary show?
That's right. Just so we can go sip on some moonshine.
That doesn't really show dedication at all.
And go spread eagle on the screaming eagle.
I mean,
with the trophy right there in the middle.
He's out there. I'm here.
I know. What does that say about it? But
dude, I really wish he would find a blonde wig and put it on that trophy. Send us a selfie of him on that road.
Or at least drink one of those fruity drinks out of the top of it, right?
And maybe put on the blonde wig.
Oh, maybe so. But look, y'all are wonderful. We appreciate you. I thank you for putting up with us for 4 years, and hopefully we can do it for 4 more and beyond. We've made 942 shows, and I thank everybody at every stage a part of it. And I want to particularly thank Paul Mason, who is now taking over in the role of program director for Dan Mandis, and he's doing a fine job. We call him New Suit. Dan was Old Suit. He's New Suit. And he is such a wonderful boss to work for, and I'll tell you why. Because he allows us to do our thing. He gives us the freedom to have a good time. He gives us the freedom to do what we do. And, I worked in that capacity back in the day, way back in the day, and I wanted to get away from it. But I always believed in, and Paul lives it every day, that if you find talented people and allow them to do their things, good things will happen. And it creates that family dynamic that I think we have. And we couldn't do it without him. So thanks to everyone. Thank you for indulging us and indulging me in this, because it's a very tender subject for me. But I deeply appreciate the fact that y'all come every day and you listen. And I hope to earn that every single day. I know I don't do it, but I try to earn it every single day. And I'm going to continue to try to earn it by saying this. I'm about to tick a lot of y'all off. I am.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I know I am.
Here we go.
I have no idea what we're doing in Venezuela. What are we doing with Venezuela? Look, I trust my man. And I'm trying here, y'all. I'm trying to trust my man. But I think he's getting some bad advice from someone. And I don't know if it's from Pete Hegseth or if it's from Marco Rubio. I don't know where it's coming from. Would someone explain to me what we're doing in Venezuela? What we're doing with Venezuela? What is our purpose regarding Venezuela? Because I thought our purpose was to stop drug runners from bringing that nasty garbage into our country and infecting our people with it and killing our people. I thought that's what we were doing. But now it doesn't seem like that's what we're doing. Now it feels like we're trying to overthrow the government over there. And look, I know Maduro is dirty as hell. We all do. We all know that he's a snake. We all know that he's after himself. He's not for the people of that country. But the people of that country have to figure this out, right? Now, I understand that we can offer some level of indirect support if they so choose to overthrow their dictatorial government and replace it with something better reflective of their society and better reflective of a democratically elected government. I'm all about that. But nation building doesn't work. It hasn't worked in a long time. And at least in my memory, the last number of times we've tried it, it has flamed out infamously. Is that what we're trying to do? And I've heard that we seized an oil tanker. No, it was illegal oil. It was embargoed oil. It was this. It was that. What are we doing? What would someone tell me what we're doing? I would appreciate it if someone within the Trump administration would step forward to the microphone and be straight with the American people. And don't obfuscate and don't tell me this, that. Just tell me what we're doing. I might disagree with it, but just be straight. Say, we're going to run the government of that country out and we're going to replace it with a government that we support. I'm going to be against that. I'm going to say it's not going to work, but at least I will understand what you're doing. I don't understand what you're doing right now. I really don't. Because the narrative seems to change. Now, I believe in our guy. I believe in Donald J. Trump. And an argument can perhaps be made that my man Donald J. Trump is playing 5D chess, and I just don't understand it. Okay. Well, tell me what that end game looks like. Would you? Because he just said he's coming after Colombia next. Now, once again, Donald Trump, during his first term, made it a big point, and he has thus far, at least Venezuela notwithstanding, that we're not getting in foreign entanglement. We're not getting in foreign wars. We're getting out of them. We got out of Afghanistan. Donald Trump did that. Joe Biden didn't do that. Joe Biden almost ruined it. But Trump was getting us out. Good. Iraq, out. Good. Israel, not in. Good. Gaza, not in. Good. Ukraine, Russia, out. Good. Venezuela, in. Not so good. Not so good. So, look, you can say that this is my libertarian stripe shining brightly on my back or whatever you want to say. I just do not believe that history informs us that any of this is going to end well if we send troops down there. And that feels like that's where we're going. And I was against it when Joe Biden was suggesting we're doing it in Russia or Ukraine. And I'm against it when anybody within the Trump administration suggests that we're going to do it in Venezuela. I'm consistent on that. Now, y'all understand something, because we do way too much of this in modern society. That doesn't mean that I'm anti-Trump. That doesn't mean that I'm against Donald Trump. I'm not. I can disagree with his policy position on this front and still agree with all of the rest, and I do. I don't believe the economy is as sour as the mainstream media suggests. I don't believe that we are far from seeing a break in that in 2026. I understand what he's doing on tariffs. The mainstream media doesn't seem to, but I do, and I know that there's a little bit of short-term pain that we're going through for long-term good. I completely and wholly support what he's doing on energy. I completely and totally support what he's doing on border security and immigration policy. I believe in our guy. But I don't understand this. Do you? Do you? Hey, Junior, is any of this making sense to you?
A little bit. You know, I'm used to live in Miami, so I got a little bit of the Cuban heritage, and I've seen some of the Venezuelan migration to Miami as Venezuela fell apart over the last few years. And I think what's going on with Trump right now is a lot more complicated than people let on, as you can see that it's hard to understand. I think a lot of what he's doing is strangling their economy. He's starting to go after their illicit income through the drug trade. He's going after the tankers, which is enforcing current laws on tariffs so that they can't get money pseudo-legitimately by selling their oil, all right? And then in the region, he's telling everybody, all the neighbors, hey, we're coming after you next. And one thing that he hasn't done, that he hasn't said outright, that I think may be an influence from Marco Rubio and his heritage and my heritage, which has to do with Cuba, is that Venezuela props up the Cuban economy with oil. So if Venezuela falls, all the other neighbors are on notice for the drug trade. Cuba could possibly fall as well. And then you have two countries in the region that could end up being favorable to Trump and what America would like to get done in the region. It's not to say that that's what's going to happen. It's just from what I've seen throughout the years and what I see that's going on now and what I kind of can add up, I think he's doing a Greenland move, if you will. Like when he was coming in, he was saying, hey, we're going to take over Greenland.
Yeah.
It's going to be part of our defense. You know, I think Venezuela going down, putting all those guys on notice, and then Cuba possibly going down gives us a large possible.
Well, I mean, I get those dominoes are connected. I understand that, but what are we going to do? Take over Cuba?
I don't think so. I think the people in Venezuela would like to have the people that they feel they elected, that Maduro has kind of pushed out, you know, by cheating the elections. And I think Cuba would like to get a shot at having their own elections as well. You know, one of the things you never hear about here is how in Cuba they're disappearing a lot of the people that are there that are going up and rising up against.
No, I mean, I understand that. And I understand that Cuba, the only way that Cuba continues to exist is because of Venezuela. And Venezuela continues to exist in part because of Russia and because of the oil that they're selling, you know, in other parts of the world. The question is, are we willing to put military resources in Venezuela for this purpose, in your opinion, Junior?
I don't think that is a real play. I think that's just
you don't think the factions that support Maduro will fight back? And when they start killing people, this is what happens. When I'm going to put you on hold, Junior, because I want you to be able to respond to this. It would be unfair for you not to, and Mike and Bob and David. Here's what happens. We put the pressure, and I get it. I understand that. Maduro lost the election and stayed in power. And that ain't right. And we're trying to help the people of Venezuela. They hate Maduro and they want change. So we're trying to help. But when we put the squeeze, they're going to fight back and start killing some of those people. And what do we do then? Are we going to send our military down there to protect them? Because that's what's going to happen. I promise you guys, I've seen this too much. We put the squeeze on them. They feel the pressure. People start rising up and people start getting shot in the streets. And then what do? Because it's the Pottery Barn rule. And if we break it, we got to buy it. And I'm not prepared to send military resources, 20, 40,000 troops. Are you? I mean, maybe you are. Maybe that's where we want to go. It's 25 after the hour on Super Talk. I was sent a text today at 1:04 that says we still have at least one bottle of sparkle syrup. That's right, one bottle of sparkle syrup. Holly sent me that message today. They also have incredible other items, and I got a video from Holly and her team about some of these items. I mean, different types of pastas and different types of spices. And I'm looking at the video right now. Gift-giving ideas, Tennessee Traditions, a 4-jar gift set, seafood essentials, sparkle syrup, all ready to go for the holidays. I mean, gift sets available at Savory Spice. Friends, where you at? I mean, they've got them at Savory Spice, and they're ready for you this weekend. Get down to Savory Spice in Franklin, just off the square. Smell the smells and delight in the gift-giving opportunity that is Savory Spice. If you're out shopping, you need to do this at Savory Spice. And don't forget the sparkle syrup when you stop by. Savory Spice is located in Franklin, just off the square, as I mentioned. Holly and David are the local owners and operators of Savory Spice, and I want you to go and tell them that Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and Nashville International Airport's put out a warning to travelers about traffic delays tomorrow. TDOT is going to be closing lanes on I-40. They're going to shut down the Terminal Drive ramp to I-40 West between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. tomorrow. Drivers are advised to use Donaldson Pike or the Terminal Drive ramp to I-40 East as alternate routes. And you're going to wake up in the deep freeze one day this weekend. All that more coming up. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. In Ann Arbor, Michigan today, fired University of Michigan football coach Sharon Moore made his first court appearance since his arrest in that home invasion and stalking case allegedly involving a former staff member with whom he allegedly had an affair. ABC News legal contributor Channa Lloyd says Moore was ordered to have a GPS monitor before he's released on a $25,000 bond with strict conditions, including mental health treatment.
He's looking up to about 5 years if they do find him guilty on all charges. Obviously, it's going to depend a lot on whether or not he has a criminal history, whether or not there is a plea deal offered, and other information. They're also going to look to the circumstances surrounding the event. How did it come about?
Married father of 3 was fired and arrested on Wednesday. Turning Point USA is working with Tennessee leaders to expand its presence in high schools statewide. Conservative advocate and Nashville native Riley Gaines telling WTN's Chris Anshow the plan unveiled alongside Governor Lee and other dignitaries today includes creating Club America chapters that will focus on constitutional principles and free market ideas.
I think what we've learned really in the past 3 months following the assassination, the murder of Charlie Kirk, was that Tennessee is not immune to woke ideology. We have seen chapters, both high school and college chapters, even in Christian schools, have problems in starting up a Turning Point chapter.
This move follows similar efforts in Texas, Oklahoma, and Florida. Tennessee has received federal approval to restrict sugary food and drinks from SNAP purchases. Items like candy, soda, energy drinks no longer will be eligible starting next year. At the same time, SNAP users will gain access to select hot, prepared foods, including rotisserie chicken. State leaders say the move promotes healthier eating and better use of taxpayer dollars. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, Metro Center got a crash 65 northbound at Rosa Parks Boulevard. Talbot's Corner 65 southbound before the northern split. Goodlettsville got a crash. Conference Drive at Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. And in Sylvan Park got a stalled vehicle off on the left shoulder. That's 40 eastbound near White Bridge Pike, Briley Parkway West. Hillwood, a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder. 40 westbound at Charlotte Pike. And in the Belmont area now, got a new crash 65 northbound after Wedgwood. I'm Ken Weaver.
You hear that, Weaver? He was talking about the real feels.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we're real feels in the teens, y'all. On Sunday. Ken, you going to get out and about on Sunday?
No, sir.
No?
I'm staying inside.
You're just watching some Christmas movie. I'm getting out and about on Sunday. I love it. I love the crisp weather. I love Alpha and Omega, too. They're not new to the computer services industry. They've been around since 1998. Michael and his team, their services include 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week protection from all evolving threats, compliance for all industries, business continuity, and much, much more. What do? They handle all of your computers. They handle all of your computer systems. They handle your servers. They handle your emails. They handle your IT. They handle cybersecurity. They handle ransomware threat. All of that can be taken care of with Michael and his team. Enter an IT contract, and you don't have to worry about your IT anymore. Alpha and Omega takes care of it for you. And you'll deal with local people right here in the Middle Tennessee area. You don't deal with people out of state or out of country, certainly, and you don't deal with bots. These AI technologies, come on. They don't replace a real human being on the other end of the line. 615-784-4096, 784-0096, or A&O.net. That's A&O.net. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Defend Systems. Brink Fiddler and his team at Defend Systems want to talk with you if you're a business owner. It's as simple as this. We live in a world, a crazy world, that's very, very dangerous and seems to be getting more dangerous on a daily basis. Defend Systems understands that. Brink and his team understand that, and they want to come to your business not to scare you, not to freak you out, but to help train you and your staff on what to do in the unlikely event that something negative happens to you, like a workplace violence situation or an active shooter situation, whatever it might be. They conduct site survey and threat assessment, offer security improvement consult, emergency and intruder action plans, and rapid response medical, all customized to your facility. Give them a call and schedule an appointment today to see how they can help you. 615-236-6484, 236-6484, or defendsystems.com. Friends, the bottom line is this. The possibility of you going through one of these situations is very, very low, but it's not zero. Hope is not a plan. It's time to get trained with Defend Systems. Like I told y'all, all right, we're getting into nincompoops in a second. I got to clean some of this other stuff up, and I promised I'd get back to Junior. So I told y'all, all the people that were praising our 4 years together, all the people that were saying, Murphy, you're awesome, Murphy, you're great. I say what I say about my feelings on Venezuela and nation building, and now everybody's like, you don't get it, man. You need to do some research. You're just a dummy. I get it. I get it all right, and I hope that we don't get it. Look, we can do things indirectly to assist democracy around the globe without putting boots on the ground. I see this leading to boots on the ground. That's what I'm telling you. And I hear you. I don't know that. Is this America first? I mean, I thought we were America. I mean, I believe in protecting ourselves and protecting our borders. Now, Junior, I promised I'd get you an opportunity to speak on this first, and then we'll get into nincompoops and maybe some other calls. Junior, what say you?
So I think it'd be foolish to think that the possibility isn't real, that they would send people in, but that's not what I want at all. And I don't think many people really truly want to see any Americans have to, do any kind of sacrifice for a country that isn't ours, But I believe, honestly, truly, that we do have ways to help and support the people, because you're right. Once the, rubber meets the road over there and things start to fall apart, the people in power are going to want to hold on to power, and they're going to do whatever it takes. But I think in the next maybe 2 to 3 months, as that economy starts to crumble, as those paychecks stop going to those military people, as those military people don't have what the government is giving them now, they're going to be on the side of their compatriots, of their brothers, of their, sisters, of their children, which are the rest of the Venezuelan population, and they're going to be against the, people that are left in power. And you may see a solution where Venezuela takes care of itself. But
I hope so.
Unfortunately,
I hope so.
There's a real possibility that blood will be spilled, and that's unfortunate.
And here's what I see coming. I see a lot of money going to Venezuela from the American government. I see boots going into Venezuela to support the new government. I see the new government crumbling within 15 years. And I see billions of dollars of our own money being wasted. That's my fear. Now, I could be completely wrong. We could do it differently than we've done it in the past. We could do it differently than we did in Afghanistan. We could do it differently than we did in Iraq. But that's what I see. And
unfortunately, history shows what you're saying.
And I hope that I am proven wrong. But my fear is that we're going to risk American lives for no benefit to the United States of America. America first means something to me. And y'all can talk all about stolen elections all you want, because I hear you on the super text line. You can talk all about instability in that region. That region has been unstable for 2 decades. I mean, it predates Maduro. It goes to Hugo Chavez, right? Hugo Chavez promoted socialism as the answer to all of Venezuela's problems, and it just destroyed that nation. And I get it. They've been propped up by communists for years. And they, in turn, prop up Cuba, which, in turn, props up communism. I'm not against supporting a democratic process in that region, but those people have to do it. We can't do it. You know what we have to do, though? I know one thing we have to do. Nincompoops in the news. That's what we have to do.
Nincompoops in the news.
All right. Y'all know how it rolls, right? It's Nincompoops time. Sadly, Jackson Williams has already retained the trophy. The Wellness Institute of Nashville Nincompoops in the News trophy for the week. But that doesn't mean that we don't still play on these Fridays. Ken Weaver's back in News Closet B. Hello, Ken. RJ is competing in his first ever Nincompoops in the News, and he is in Control Room A. Hello, RJ.
Yes, I am, and I'm excited to be here.
What's going on? Can you say my pleasure real quick?
My pleasure.
Yeah, you're wearing the Chick-fil-A shirt, aren't you?
Yeah, that's the perks of having a day job.
I gave you the business for not bringing us some waffle fries, and I felt bad because you're like, man, I can get you some waffle fries. And I was like, I was just kidding.
I can get you some waffle fries if you want.
Golly, the only time I do the...
Just got to invite me back to produce.
Let me tell you, the waffle fries, and you take the Chick-fil-A mayo and the Chick-fil-A ketchup and mix that up together. It's the only way I do it at Chick-fil-A. I absolutely love it. Anyway, highly recommended. RJ's back there. He's got a story. Ken's got a story. I've got a story, and we're going to play Nincompoops in the News. Considering that, RJ, it's your first opportunity.
Okay.
Considering that the winner from yesterday is off gallivanting with the trophy on the Flying Eagle in Gatlinburg, Ken, as long as you don't have an objection to it.
I am not objecting to it.
I say we let RJ go first.
I say we do.
RJ?
Oh, wow. Big honor. Okay.
Floor is yours.
So, this is a fresh story from yesterday. Back in my home region in the Midwest, man attempted to rob a liquor store with a gun older than the state of Kansas.
Okay.
So, 24-year-old Dylan Redfern walked into a liquor store waving a gun that police describe as a mid-1800s single-shot percussion derringer, which is historically known as the muff pistol.
The muff pistol?
Yes, it was a gun designed for women who were out shopping for the unmentionables.
This might be RJ's first time, but he's going to fit in just fine around here.
Yeah.
That's good. The muff pistol.
Yes. According to
you got to
the police,
protect the muffin.
According to the police, they didn't even need forensic ballistics to identify the weapon. And Dylan, the robber, was found after the robbery in a Quick Trip, still with the gun.
Nice.
And when police finally arrested him, they decided to check and see the gun's history. Last time it had been fired was 1863, and even then, it misfired.
I feel like if you're in that need of money, couldn't you just sell the pistol? I feel like that would be kind of valuable. Yeah. I don't know.
I believe it would have been.
I think so, but then you would be out your muff pistol.
Exactly. Like, what are you going to defend yourself when you're shopping for underwear?
I've only got one shot, but who wants it?
That's right. You reminded me of Unforgiven there, Weaver.
Yeah.
All I know is who's going to be last.
That's right.
That's good, RJ. I like it.
That's
Ken?
way to go, brother RJ.
What you got, Ken?
All right. Mine is, this is from the New York Post. I thought this was funny today. Olivia Nuzzi's memoir about RFK Jr. affair sells fewer than 1,200 copies in first week.
Oh, no.
A mere 1,165 hard editions. The grim sales figures match the scathing reviews from critics and readers alike of the 32-year-old's tome. The New York Times described it as wafting and unfocused. The Washington Post dismissed it as highly uneven and largely forgettable. The Atlantic criticized it as a tell-nothing memoir lacking honesty and emotional depth. Nuzzi was expected to sell about 5,000 copies in the first week due to hype from the New York Times and Vanity Fair. But then one publishing insider said, I think there's a broad understanding her credibility has been shredded, and the idea of her as a reliable narrator in telling any story, even hers, not many readers are going to believe that. It is a disaster from start to finish.
You've heard tell-all memoir. This is a tell-nothing memoir.
Yeah.
We've learned nothing new and no new information, and any information that is contained is good for nothing.
And apparently there really wasn't even an affair. There was just some text back and forth.
And you say this was RFK Jr.?
Yeah, well, this was a journalist by the name of Olivia Nuzzi.
Who claimed that she had something going on?
Yeah.
Like, what scandal is she going to have with him in an affair? Was he asking if she wanted to try seed oils?
Probably so.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, she caught him eating fries from McDonald's with seed oil in them. That's probably the most impactful. That's pretty funny. I like it, Ken. All right, mine. This is probably the most delicate nincompoop in the news story that I've ever delivered. I have to be very, very careful around this story.
Boy, you've done some delicate ones, Brother Murphy.
I'm going to go ahead and say that if there are little pictures in the car, y'all know what I'm talking about with those big ears? Just be on the alert. I'm going to try to do what I can, but there's only so much I can do with the story involving a woman by the name of Ken. I got to have your help.
Okay.
I think I'm going to just forget that there's a C in this name and call her Zaplinski, but it's Czaplinski. So Zaplinski without the C?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
That's what I'm going to go
Zaplinski.
with. Zaplinski. Okay. Let's introduce you to Sharon Zaplinski. When it comes to intimate encounters, most people prefer a certain degree of privacy. But not Sharon Zaplinski. The 45-year-old Florida woman is, for the second time in 3 short months, facing criminal charges for public lewdness, for receiving oral favors from a male acquaintance.
By the way, it's Chaplinsky. Sorry.
Chaplinsky?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go. Chaplinsky and her partner were named this week in a criminal information investigation charging them with indecent exposure, disorderly intoxication, and engaging in an unnatural act in connection with a noon tryst on November 30th in the parking lot of the Winn-Dixie in the Florida Keys. Responding to a 911 call about, quote, people having sex, end quote, outside of the Marathon supermarket.
You've been there.
I've been to this Winn-Dixie. We went to the Winn-Dixie on Marathon Key. Oh, man, this just got a lot closer. This is I might have met this lady. You never know.
The story got less delicate, Ken.
So, specifically, how'd you say it again, Ken?
Chaplinsky.
Chaplinsky. Specifically, Chaplinsky was on her back with no pants on. Marshall Lowry, 43, was laying aside Chaplinsky, facing the opposite direction, with his head in her pelvic region. That, according to the arrest report. As a sheriff's deputy approached the pair, Lowry was pulling Chaplinsky's pants further down, exposing all of that God gave her to the public. I'm cleaning this up in real time. Chaplinsky and Lowry were, according to investigators, rather drunk. That is a quote. While the duo was engaging in the romp, a second man was lying next to them.
Goodness.
With his business uncovered and plain to everyone.
Goodness.
Michael Howard, 59, was arrested for indecent exposure and disorderly intoxication. Chaplinsky, Lowry, and Howard, all pictured in the story that I'm reading from. They all look drunk as Cooter Brown. The 3 defendants have pleaded not guilty to the misdemeanor counts and are scheduled for an arraignment hearing. Lowry has been released on $3,500 bail. Chaplinsky and Howard remain in custody. In late August, Chaplinsky was arrested at 2:40 in the a.m. for a sexual encounter behind a Tom Thumb gas station.
Goodness.
responding to witness reports about
What is wrong with this woman?
I don't know.
Be careful, Brother Murphy.
Witness reports stated that she was receiving pleasure, quote, in the car wash area of the Tom Thumb. I don't know if that's in reference to where she was or her personal business. A patrolman found a pants-free Chaplinsky, and I don't need to go any further. This really gets way too intimate in terms of its detail as to what's going on with Chaplinsky and her male companions. Apparently, the duo at the time of the first incident, also highly intoxicated, surrounded by several beer cans and at least one bottle of vodka. The Tom Thumb manager, wanted to press charges because he said the suspects were, quote, trashing up his business.
So is this the first documented instance of Florida woman?
We might have had a Florida woman before, but I think she has just gotten into the lead of Florida Woman of the Year.
It sounds like she clinched the title.
My goodness gracious. They say what happens in the Keys stays in the Keys, but not for Chaplinsky.
Oh, Chaplinsky.
She gets around.
Well, from what this is sounding like, key was in the lock.
Here's the thing, though. Well, I'm not going to say the thing.
Oh, Chaplinsky.
Old Chaplinsky. She's... it's a two-way street there, Chaplinsky. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? 2 incidents, and both times, y'all know what I'm saying, right? Y'all know what I'm saying? Okay, I hope you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, let's just leave it at that.
Why don't we just hit the music and say, that's Nincompoops in the News. RJ, Ken, Matt Murphy, all of us providing stories. Yeah, just slam that music. Boom, there we go. Yeah, that's how we play Nincompoops in the News. All right, you can vote Weaver. You'd be voting wrong, but you can vote Weaver. You can vote RJ. Here's a pretty good story. If you want to vote for the new guy, you can vote for him. Or if you want to vote for the proper nincompoop, you can vote for me.
Chaplinsky!
Chaplinsky! Get your pants on and get back into this Tom Thumb. That's Nincompoops in the News. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I promise I didn't plan this way, but it just so happens that I want to talk to you about Tennessee Men's Clinic right now. In all seriousness, y'all, Tennessee Men's Clinic is providing much-needed relief for men in our listening area and the surrounding communities when it comes to romantic relationships and intimacy in your home. I stress in your home. They don't believe in cookie-cutter treatments at Tennessee Men's Clinic. They're urology-based and staffed with multiple licensed providers who specialize in men's health, specifically men's sexual health. They use proven treatment tailored to your specific situation with no one-size fits all. Whether you're dealing with mild to moderate ED, perhaps you're dealing with intimate issues or just energy loss, they can help. Too many guys rely on these online sites, folks. Do not do this. Go to the experts right here locally in our community. Go to the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Clarksville is a location that they just opened. The original location in Midtown Nashville, and of course, the Cool Springs location opened several years ago. One telephone call to schedule an appointment at any of those locations. 615-208-9090, 208-9090 for our friends at the Tennessee Men's Clinic, online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is, 1 minute until the top of the hour. So we're talking 99.7 WTN. Why are you calling me Magic Bullet? 5637, Magic Bullet. You're going to try and dispute my facts. Tell me why I'm being called Magic Bullet. I don't really understand what you're saying here. Magic Bullet, regime change in Venezuela. You need to listen a little bit to Alex Jones. I assure you I do not. To get some perspective, no thank you. As far as their own people fixing their own country, I do not believe that's possible. Desire to do it so generally will never overcome the lack of resources and power to make it happen. It's being done by Trump under the Monroe Doctrine. P.S. Russia and China are circling the waters ready to take over South America. You know, weren't they saying the same thing in like 2004? That's when Dick Cheney was trying to get us to go down there. And you go on to say Trump's efforts will present that bleep everywhere he pursues this plan of attack. Grab a clue, please. I have a clue, and you don't have to be insulting because we have a different perspective on this. And trust me, I know. I know insulting and I know not insulting, and you're being insulting. But you're welcome to call me, 5637. I'd love to talk with you. One more hour to go on The Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hang in there.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Heads up for travelers heading to Nashville International Airport. Lane closures and a full shutdown of the Terminal Drive ramp to I-40 West scheduled for tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Use Donaldson Pike or I-40 East as detours during the closure. Channel 4's Lisa Spencer says brace yourself for an Arctic blast this weekend.
Cold air really arrives late night Saturday into early on Sunday. That's when we're going to see wind gusts over 20 miles an hour with the temperatures at 18 coming up on Sunday morning.
Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Fired University of Michigan football coach Sharon Moore arraigned virtually today, charged with 3 crimes against someone he had dated, including home invasion and stalking. ABC News legal analyst Brian Buckmeyer says it looks like Moore will get out of jail sometime soon.
This is a former Michigan coach, and so he does have the means. That's why you're hearing a lot of them talk about when you do get out, you will have a monitored tether. When you do get out, you have to abstain from certain items like alcohol and substance abuse. And if he does violate those, he can actually be brought back into jail, potentially have a higher amount of bond or bail, or not be released at all.
Judge setting $25,000 bail, ordering Moore to wear a GPS tether ahead of a court appearance January 22nd. Tennessee high schools may soon see Turning Point USA clubs as part of a new statewide initiative. These chapters will be branded as Club America, designed to encourage students to engage in political and cultural discussions. Turning Point USA Senior Director Josh Tifo in Nashville says anyone trying to block them could face legal challenges.
They have added some teeth to the agreement so that any bad guy listening right now, it's not a good idea to try to intimidate that 15-year-old and say they can't start a Turning Point chapter, because you could get a call from the AG's office. Not pleasant.
So this program announced today alongside Governor Lee and other state leaders is modeled after launches in Texas, Oklahoma, and Florida. And big changes coming to Tennessee's SNAP program. Starting next year, sugary snacks and drinks will be off the list, while some hot prepared foods will be added. The USDA approved the state's request to ban items with sugar as the main ingredient. Officials hope the shift will fight chronic disease and improve nutrition for families and be a better use of taxpayer money. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Jolton got an injury crash blocking the left lane, 24 westbound before Whites Creek Pike. We've got a crash Lafayette Street near Division Street. And then look for one Abbott Martin Road at Hillsborough Pike. I'm Ken Weaver.
I feel insulted. I feel insulted. Final hour of the Matt Murphy Show starts right now. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Y'all give me a call so we don't have to talk about the real news. I will talk about the real news if necessary, but I would prefer not. I'd prefer to talk about the weekend and Christmas time and the holiday season and celebrating and all of that stuff as opposed to actual stuff. But I've got plenty of actual stuff to talk about, and I am not afraid to whip it out if you make me. Here's why I feel insulted. By the way, RJ's behind the glass. He's making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as possible. He's doing pretty good on nincompoop voting, too, by the way. I don't know if you got the thing pulled up there. I'm looking at voting. Matt Murphy is in the lead, or I'm sorry, Ms. Chablinski is in the lead without any pants on. Ken Weaver is in third place right now. RJ remains in second place, but it's a pretty fair fight. 615-737-9986. You want to know why I feel insulted, y'all? Ken might be doing some news back there. So RJ's here, and we appreciate RJ's hard work. Jackson is not here. Jackson is off today. As you might have heard, Jackson is off in Gatlinburg, having a great old time. And I asked Jackson, because he's texting me, and I'm going to share some of these text messages that he's sending to me. He sent me a lovely picture with a view from the top of the cabin, which is absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful country over there. He said that he started his moonshine tasting at 2:30 this afternoon. Said it was delicious. He then went on to, he asked me at 5:40 how morale was. I think he is suggesting that morale would go down as he is not present. I said that it was good and that he was missed. He asked me, RJ, how you were doing. And I told him that you were doing excellent, that we had a little bit of a technical snafu with Jay, but that's no big deal. But otherwise, excellent job. And then I told him that you had another technical snafu at about 6:09, but that's okay, too.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then he goes on to say, I'm having a blackberry moonshine margarita with dinner because when in Rome. And I said, can you call in? And this is where I get insulted. He said, I'm at dinner, so no. You'll get a full recap and review Monday at 3:50. I'm like, what? I was kind of hoping for a telephone call. Anyway, no Jackson. That's unfortunate, but it is. I mean, I was hoping that he would be the nincompoop of the day, or at least the drunken poop of the day. All right, Oklahoma City Black Lives Matter Executive Director Tashia Sherry Amor Dickerson has been charged. This is the most unsurprising story in the history of unsurprising stories. By the way, I know that call's coming in, so we're good on that call. Just tell him I'll get to him in a second. I forgot to tell you. Tashila Sherry Amore Dickerson, who was the executive director of Oklahoma City Black Lives Matter, has been charged with 20 counts of wire fraud, 5 counts of money laundering after allegedly spending millions of dollars in donations on personal, quote, indulgences. Dickerson took over as director of Black Lives Matter OKC in 2016, and since 2020 has raised more than $5.6 million for what donors believed was a national bail fund. The bail fund was also supplemented by grants through the Community Justice Exchange, Massachusetts Bail Fund, and Minnesota Freedom Fund. The indictment alleges that from June 2020 to October 2025, Dickerson used at least $3.15 million in bail fund donations and grant money to supplement her lifestyle. Dickerson allegedly embezzled the money to pay for personal shopping sprees, $50,000 in food and grocery delivery, trips to Jamaica and the Dominican Republic, as well as a personal vehicle and six, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Oklahoma City properties registered in her name. The indictment explains that Dickerson allegedly used interstate wire communications to send false reports to Alliance for Global Justice, which only permitted the group to use its funds in ways compliant with the 501c3 nonprofit status. Dickerson, however, did not disclose how she was allegedly using the funds for personal gain. If convicted, and she should be, she faces 20 years in federal prison and $250,000 in fines per count of wire fraud. For each count of money laundering, she faces 10 years in prison and a fine of $250,000 and twice the amount of criminally deprived property. Donations, as you remember, poured into Black Lives Matter and affiliated racial justice organizations in 2020 following the murder of George Floyd, or I would repair that story and say the death of George Floyd. I think there's a lot of questions about whether or not George Floyd died as a result of that knee. I don't think that completely absolves Derek Chauvin. Derek Chauvin should have known better, but I don't know that Derek Chauvin killed. I mean, the toxicology reports and some of the evidence that was not presented in trial indicate to me that there were enough drugs in the system that George Floyd could have died because of the drugs as opposed to directly because of the actions of Derek Chauvin. That's just, that doesn't mean that I'm excusing Derek Chauvin's actions. I think some of what Derek Chauvin did that day was obviously wrong on its face, but I don't believe, I cannot tell you conclusively that I believe that Derek Chauvin was guilty of murder anymore or that George Floyd was murdered. I just can't. I know that a jury convicted him, but I do believe that there should be a relook at his case based on toxicology of the individual. George Floyd was high on drugs. And a case has been made that George Floyd had so many drugs in his system that it very likely was those drugs that caused his death, as opposed to Derek Chauvin's actions trying to restrain him. Be that as it may, there was a spending spree among leaders who suddenly had access to millions of dollars with very little oversight. According to the group's 2020 to 2022 tax filings, only 1/3 of the organization's $90 million in revenue was ever used to fund the charity. 1/3. Patrice Cullors, who ran the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, which is the movement's umbrella organization, spent millions of dollars on contracts for her friends and family members, as well as several multi-million-dollar homes. She resigned in 2021 in response to backlash from chapters across the country, and she was never charged criminally and has denied any wrongdoing. BLM activist Monica Cannon Grant pleaded guilty in September to multiple counts of wire fraud for diverting $185,000 in donations to her nonprofit Violence in Boston to pay for rent, shopping sprees, hotels, cars, rentals, auto repairs, meal deliveries, and a summer vacation home. The Department of Justice has launched investigations into multiple Black Lives Matter organizations and similar activist groups as of October. These organizations were simply a grifting operation. Here's what BLM did as organizations. All right, obviously, if you say Black Lives Matter to me, I will say, well, of course, Black Lives Matter. White lives matter. Brown lives matter. All lives matter. Human beings matter. You remember back, I mean, I'm not too old to remember this. Or too young to remember this. You remember back in the day when I would say Black Lives Matter, or I would say all lives matter, and people get mad, Don't you diminish black lives. What? What are you talking about? You don't get to elevate yourself over someone else? What are you talking about? All lives matter. Isn't that acceptable? No, it was not acceptable for a hot minute. I mean, we never catered to the demands of these shakedown artists. And that's exactly what they were and what they are, shakedown artists. What is sad to me is that there were so many people that bought in. So many good people, and many of them were. There were good people that felt like the black people had gotten a bad shake, that the black people had gotten the raw end of the deal. And, and obviously back in the day in the United States of America's history, black people did get the raw end of the deal. But these folks gave to these organizations, and in many instances, they gave more than they could afford to give because they thought these organizations were doing good work. But more to the point, these organizations then committed the grift that was perfected by the Rainbow Push Coalition and Jesse Jackson. What is the grift? You go to organizations that are primarily white or that do not necessarily cater to the black community, quote unquote, and you demand money. You suggest that accusations have been made against those organizations that they are somehow, quote unquote, anti-black. And as a result, if you're for example, the Rainbow Push Coalition, the way that they did it, they said you need diversity training in your business. If you and they tell you but thankfully the Rainbow Push Coalition, this is what Jesse Jackson did. And for those that don't know, so he would go to organizations, multi-gajillion-dollar businesses, and they would say, "Hey, a complaint has been made against your business that you are not diversified." And this is before DEI, but this is what created DEI. Jesse Jackson was doing this in the 1990s. He was doing this in the early 2000s and made millions of dollars. And it's a shakedown. So, and really Jesse got the basics of this shakedown from the mob, from the mafia. Hey, someone has made a complaint against your organization that you are racist or that you are non-diversified. Well, that's ridiculous. Who made the complaint? Well, these are whistleblowers, and we can't tell you who made the complaint, obviously. However, if you're willing, we would love to offer diversity training to you and your organization to make sure that there are, everyone's aware of how they ought to act. And if you do that, then, no problems. Well, no. Well, how much is it? Well, the diversity training is $500,000. $500,000? What are you, crazy? No, we're not doing that. Oh, we're going to have to go to the press, and we're going to tell the press that there have been multiple racial complaints against your organization and your company. It's probably going to cost you a lot of money on the stock market, and it's probably going to cost you a lot of market share. That's unfortunate, but if you're not willing to pay the $500,000, we understand that. Oh, wait, hold on a second. No, I'll pay it. And you pay the $500,000, and they give you $30,000 worth of diversity training, and there you go. Y'all see the shakedown there? It's real similar to the way the mafia would do it. So the mafia would go to, like I'm a part of the mafia, and I would go to RJ. RJ's a business owner, right? RJ owns a little grocery store. Uh-huh. And I go into the grocery store and I go, this is a pretty, you're dealing with a pretty rough neighborhood over here, RJ. I would hate to find you in a bad way. I would hate for bad people to do nasty things to you. You should probably pay us a little money every month and we'll protect you. You see how that works? So if you pay the money, nothing bad happens to you and you're being shaken down. If you don't pay the money, guess what happens? Your business gets broken into. Who's doing it? I'm doing it. That's the way the shakedown works. That's the way Jesse Jackson worked, and that's the way the BLM worked. For these businesses. That's the way DEI worked too. These businesses, it was demanded of them, and thank God that we have good people like Robbie Starbuck and others that are protecting some of these businesses that wouldn't engage in the DEI protocols. They were threatened by the same organizations that we are now finding out were just grifter operations, like BLM Oklahoma City. Anyway, more on that in a moment. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. Here, I want to talk with Mark real quick of the Safe House. Mark and his team are working hard. I mean, well, I'll tell you who's working hard, Jill. Would you not agree with that, Mark?
Did she call before me or something? Because yes, she's the hardest working person at the safe
Well,
house.
no, I just feel like you're getting a little bit too much credit for all the hard work that she's doing, and I feel like during the holiday season that I should like pay it forward to Jill and the team back there behind the glass.
Yeah, you're setting me up, aren't you? Yes, Jill is the light of my life, and I could not function at the safe house without her. So.
Well, Mark, what's going on, brother? How's the holidays?
Well, I just love following these uplifting, segments that you have about BLM and all that. And you know who really matters at the safe house?
Who matters?
Is Santa Claus lives matter at the safe house because, it is the holidays. Merry Christmas to everyone. And we have tons of specials on safes. And Santa Claus comes by and picks them up and delivers them to your house. So.
That's pretty nice. That's nice
of
Santa.
Well, that's just how we are at the safe house.
Well, those safes aren't light, so it's nice. I mean, and Santa Claus runs a pretty professional operation, so I guess that would say.
Well, those little elves are pretty powerful. I mean, he drops them off, and here they come. Come out?
I've been telling people that we got rebates galore going on until the end of the year. Is that true?
Right you are, Matt. We do through the end of the year on Browning and Liberty. And I will have to say, Fort Knox, no rebates. They never have rebates, but they make one of the best or the best safe in the country. That's why they don't have rebates. But I do have Browning and Liberty rebates and all kinds of special Christmas holiday specials.
What you got probably roughly 200 safes on the showroom floor?
On the floor, 223 as of today, and then we have about 500 or 600 in stock.
Good gracious! So I mean, I think it's fair to say that you have more safes than any other company on planet Earth. That's what I think. I mean, I've not counted every single store, but I think you're right up there.
Well, Santa Claus wants him to tell the truth. So we have the biggest selection in the Southeast. Let me just say that.
Well, I would say that's probably.
Actually, I have more safes in stock and on display than probably every company combined in Middle Tennessee.
The most important thing you had the last time I was over there was the Murphy Special. Is that still around?
The Matt Murphy Safe Special, yes. And people, and that safe is a special only at the safe house because I helped Browning design that safe for Matt Murphy.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I'm here for you, Matt.
Matt Murphy's going to put his money where his mouth is because Matt Murphy is moving into a new house, and as a result, Matt Murphy's looking at a new safe, and so Matt Murphy might be getting the Matt Murphy special for Matt Murphy in Matt Murphy's new house, Murphy Manor. How about that?
The Murphy Manor safe will be waiting on you, and I have some other designs coming up for 2026, so maybe we can make something else the Matt Murphy Manor safe. Would that be the way?
Well, I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, well, look, in all seriousness, people need to get to you, man. I mean, what a great gift this is for someone who just is a Second Amendment aficionado, someone that likes their guns, maybe the hunter in your life. Maybe you want to get a biometric so you can get it beside the bedside and protect the kids away from the guns. Okay. I mean, you got it all, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. And quick access, we have some specials on those, our Voltec quick access safes. That you could put by your bed for quick access. There we go, and keep your weapon out of your children's or anyone else's hands.
I would encourage anyone and everyone to get by the safe house while you're out holiday shopping during the holidays. Go by Nashville Safe House, see the selection. It's more selection than you've ever seen in your life. You'll get a little bit overwhelmed, but here's the great thing: Jill and Mark and the rest of the team, they are very intelligent about asking you a few questions and kind of helping you. Pare down, your selection to 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, and then you can figure out where you go from there, right?
Yes, sir. And I just want to end this to tell everyone Merry Christmas from the Safe House and, Happy New Year, of course, coming up too.
Mark, if I don't talk to you, have a great Christmas, but I think I'll talk to you before then.
You too, brother.
Merry Christmas. Take care. There's Mark from Safe House. We'll be back in a moment. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, folks. Matt Murphy, and I want to talk to you for a moment about Accurate Mortgage. What a great experience it's been with me and Accurate Mortgage during my time house hunting, house shopping, and now house buying. And friends, Accurate Mortgage can assist you as well. Here's the deal. Interest rates are going down. You heard about another rate cut from the feds just the other day, and that's going to be reflected in interest rates around the United States of America and right here in the state of Tennessee. I don't want you to lose the savings in your wallet to the interest rate in your head either. There are real-life examples that I could point to, but I can point to no better than mine. I've seen housing prices go down, and so we decided to buy. We found the right house for us. And Accurate, Mike, and the rest of the team have been tip-top when it comes to customer service. They treat you like family. They help explain the complex in a way that is easy to understand. They're just good at what they do, and they're never going to get you on a bad deal. Mike will explain everything to you and help save you money in the process. So if you're looking to purchase a home, do a cash-out refi to renovate your current home, or pay off high-interest credit card debt, now is the time as these rates come down and home prices are coming down as well. Accurate Mortgage, NMLS 129944. Rates and terms subject to change. Equal housing lender. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Accurate Mortgage online at AccurateMTG.com. That's AccurateMTG.com. Winding down a Friday at the Glock store, and the Glock store is enjoying their time with Tactical Santa tonight. That's right. Today is the day. Tactical Santa is here. But don't you worry, because if you're not at the Glock store right now, don't fret. Tactical Santa will be back tomorrow, and you need to be there with your family. Just $25 gets you a professional family portrait at the Glock store with their in-house photographer. And, of course, you can bring the family members and bring your pets, too. Get the most unique photo holiday memory ever with the Glock store's own Tactical Santa. Now, you're thinking, well, what's Tactical Santa? It's exactly what you think it is. I mean, Tactical Santa is decked out, and they have props available for you. They're encouraged. You can bring them in, or they have them available. Tactical Santa. Now, in addition to Tactical Santa, some of the best stocking stuffers around, the home run gift for the Second Amendment lover in your life, the home run gift for somebody that wants personal defense or protection in your life. I mean, they've got clothing, they've got accessories, they've got gear, they've got magazines, they've got ammo, and, of course, they've got Glocks, and a wonderful portrait to remember all of it by with Tactical Santa. Only at the Glock store, minutes away from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere. Go to Glockstore.com. That's Glockstore.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN would love to hear from you, talk with you. 615-737-9986. We've got about, 20 or so minutes left in the show, and then we're going to call it a weekend, and I hope you've got good weekend plans. Maybe go out, spend some time with family and friends, shopping for loved ones during the Christmas holiday. Stuart has joined us out of Murray County. Hey, Stuart, how are you?
Good. Hey, welcome to the community. I'm out here in Kellyoka, Tennessee, part of Murray County. I've been back and forth from Spring Hill, for about 25 years, and finally settled down in Kellyoka, and just want to welcome you to the community. Man, you're giving us a voice out here now, and it's so appreciated. So I just want to say thank you for choosing Murray County.
Well, look, it was I looked all around, Stuart. And I was out in Kellyoka a couple weekends ago. We went out and looked at a house out there. That's beautiful down there, man. I mean, it's gorgeous in Murray County. I mean, you can't go wrong in Tennessee if you get yourself out of Davidson County. And no offense to Davidson County, but y'all know what I'm talking about. You get out in the countryside. But we looked all over Wilson, Mount Juliet, Lebanon area, and I love that part of the world. I've been over there for a couple of years. Looked up in Sumner County, looked a little bit in Rutherford County, not a lot, just because I don't want to travel on 24 every day. Looked in Goodlettsville area because I was up there for a year. I mean, I could go on, and looked out in Dixon and Cheatham. But we found the right house, brother, and it's a great place and a wonderful area, and I look forward to being neighbors with you.
That's awesome, man, and we're so glad you're here, and you've got a great voice, and I've listened to you since you came on and everything, and, I disagree and agree with a lot of what you say, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and that's good. That's good rhetoric right there, So, but so glad you're here to give a outstanding voice to this community because it needs it. It needs it. And this water stuff that's going on down here, it's all political and the monopoly that they're trying to run down here. And I completely agree with Sapicki on what he's talking about. That we gotta talk about a little bit more, to see where we can get to get this right down here, because Duck River ain't providing much. And I think they say that that Duck River is the third most scenic river in the United States with the aquatic stuff in that, with the freshwater oysters and all that conservation and everything else. And it's a beautiful place on the Duck River. And I'm not far from it, as you're not either, just glad to have you in the community. And have a voice, man. So I appreciate it.
Well, you've got a voice too, Stuart. You call us anytime. We're here for you.
I vote. And, I try to vote right, with what we need down here. And that's all I can do. And I try to encourage my fellow constituents to do the same.
Yes, sir.
So, I'm just an old country boy, man.
Well, I love it. I love it. Me too. Well, you have a good day. You have a good weekend, and holler at me on Monday, brother.
All right. Thank you, Matt Murphy.
Right, thank you, Stuart. Appreciate that. That's kind. That's good. I love that. Love Kellyoka, too. It seemed like a nice area. Just a little bump. I won't say a bump in the road. I don't want to insult it, but that's the way it feels like. Yeah, we the whole plan, and I don't know that anybody, my plan's not very different than others, except that I feel like I had the time. What I was blessed with was the time to make a decision. When I first got here, he was back in Birmingham and was going to be for some time. I set up a camper in Goodlettsville. It was actually her idea. I set up a camper in Goodlettsville. My buddy Tommy Cunningham at the old Grand Old RV Resort Convalescence Home in Batmead. I remember I went to him. I went to a couple of these KOAs, And they looked at me like I was crazy when I asked them if I could stay a while. And I went to Tommy at the Grand Old RV Park. He loves me calling it a bat meat market, by the way. And y'all, if y'all know Tommy Cunningham, to know him is to like him. The entire family's they're wonderful people up there in Goodlettsville. They're just great folks. And he told me not to. He said, "You can stay as long as you want to, as long as you don't make my RV park look like a trailer park." And I was like, "Yes, sir." He asked me what kind of trailer. I said I hadn't. He said, "What kind of pull you got a pull behind?" I said, "I hadn't bought it yet." He's like, "Well, man, I think you're doing it backwards if you want to rent a lot before you buy an RV." I was like, "Well, maybe so." But I went and I bought one, and I stayed up there for about 11 months. And most of you, I mean, I guess maybe I'm in the mood to reminisce because it's our 4-year anniversary, right? So we went up. I stayed there for 11 months, had a great time, loved it. I mean, if you only have 11 months to live, move to the RV park because everybody's happy. They're either on vacation or retired. I mean, everybody's happy at the RV park, right? Had a great time there, got to know Goodlettsville, got to know Hendersonville, got to know that north portion of Davidson County and Sumner County, and fell in love with it. And then, started exploring out, and, I had the great opportunity to get my bike up here and just explore a lot of these regions. And so when we started looking for a house, we focused on, I didn't focus on Rutherford County, and it's no offense to you folks down in Murfreesboro, but I have no interest in 24. And I know that it all sucks. Don't get me wrong. I get it. But I had no interest in I-24 because I've heard the horror stories. And so my area of focus, I wanted at least an acre of property, and we ended up getting about 2. And it was Sumner. And that includes Portland and Gallatin and North Goodlettsville and Hendersonville. Wilson with Lebanon and Mount Juliet and surrounding areas. We looked at Cheatham and Dixon counties. That's, Pegram, Ashland City, and obviously Dixon. And then we looked down in Murray County. I put my, it's funny. I put my price point. Well, I called Debbie Matthews, our realtor, and I said, go ahead and put Williamson County in there. And our criteria was at least an acre, at least 3 bedrooms, because and really I needed an kind of an office, 2.5 bath, I mean, the drill, right? And not a lot after that. And I told Debbie, I said, put in Williamson County, go ahead and do that, just in case. And she was like, all right, I'll do it. And after about a week or so, and what I mean by putting it in, if you've not looked for a house recently, you can get, when houses come on the market that fit your basic criteria, you get sent a listing. And it gives the realtor the ability to keep feeding you new listings that pop up. And after about a week, I called Debbie and I was like, hey, did you put in Williamson County? She said, Matt Murphy, I put in Williamson County, and you're not going to get over an acre of property for your price, for your budget. And I was like, oh, I get it. I don't have $1 million budget. And so I reverted back to Columbia, the Franklin that I can afford, which I think, by the way, Columbia, this should be the slogan for your town. Columbia, the Franklin you can afford. I know. I know that there's a little bit of a sibling town rivalry going on there. But we found something in Mount Pleasant, the former phosphate capital of the world that we absolutely love. And I feel so very excited about being down there and getting our feet in the community and learning the people of Mount Pleasant. I do not want to pay 150% more in my water than we're currently going to be paying. And so we'll be fighting this Columbia Power and Water Board deal, hammer and tongs. TB just wrote in and said, you need to call John Rich and raise hell and solve this Murray County water problem. I think we're going to get it solved. There is zero chance that they're going to solve something that could be solved for $61 million for $520 million. Zero chance that happens. Zero chance. Now, Betty has written in and says, but you abandoned us in Sumner County. No, I love Gallatin. I love Sumner County. I love Goodlettsville. I love all the people up anything. I'm going to be everywhere and anywhere, man, especially once the shoulder fully heals and I get back on the motorbike. I'm going to be running around. I'll tell you that. 9368 says, I was always hoping to run into you when I was coming down the ridge when you lived here. I went up that ridge a lot. You talking about Ridgetop? I know Ridgetop well. My camper's still up that way. Anybody wants to buy it, just let me know. Camper for sale. Cheap. And then 1261 says, as a guy who lives in Rutherford, you were wise to avoid it for 24. It's a daily battle for sure, for survival. Well, this house is cool enough. I say this to the people that I know that are talking to me about the house. The house that we found is cool enough that I'm willing to brave 65 every day for like 50 minutes. In order to live where we're going to live. So it's pretty cool. All right, tell you what, quick timeout. We'll wrap things up, make sure that we're not missing anything in the news, and we'll get ourselves to the weekend next. It is 47 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for Efficient Heating and Cooling. Efficient Heating and Cooling, they're good at what they do. Jeff Eddy and his team, boy, they're going to keep you in the warmth this cold winter season. Now, it's getting cold this weekend. And I want you to do me a favor. I want you to grab a pen or a piece of paper, and I want you to write down a pen and a piece of paper, I guess, and write down this telephone number because you might just need it this weekend. It's getting cold outside, y'all. And if the heater goes out, what do you do? I mean, have you thought about that? If it's Saturday and it's cold, or it's Sunday and it's cold and the heat goes off, what do you do? Well, I encourage you to call Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling, 615-784-4424. I'm going to give it to you again. He keeps overhead down. He doesn't believe in overtime. He keeps invoices low for that reason. You pay the same 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Jeff Eddy wants to help. And if your heater goes out, you need to make the call, and he'll get out jiffy quick, and he'll fix what ails your system. 615-784-4424 or online at efficienthvac.net, efficienthvac.net. They're an Elite Pro partner with Rheem, meaning that if the heater has simply gone kaput and there's nothing that they can do about it, they can replace it with something that's right for you and your family. I trusted Jeff Eddy. You can trust a Jeff Eddy. It's Efficient Heating and Cooling. Give them a call today. One more time with that number. Write it down, 615-784-4424. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A few more moments of the Matt Murphy Radio Show, and we'll call it a weekend. A couple of stories we do want to tell you about. This is a ridiculous story out of the city of Nashville. Metro Nashville City Councilor Emily Benedict, who is no friend of the American people, in my opinion, no friend of Nashville, spent much of her afternoon a couple of days ago, Wednesday, driving around Inglewood and Madison. According to the Tennessean, Benedict's travels took her past a neighborhood elementary school, up and down Briley Parkway to a street outside. I'm just going to read this to you as it was presented by the Tennessean. And by the way, Tennessean, y'all need to get your finger on the pulse of what the people in this community actually think about these illegal aliens in our midst. I mean, I like Cameron a lot, but he is a loner over there in conservative closet. We need more conservatives on your editorial board, and you sure as heck need more conservatives writing for your publication. Oh, by the way, before I go, I've got to tell you about something. Remind me, RJ, to tell them about something that Freddie O'Connell said today.
Okay, what's that?
All right, hold on, I'm going to finish the story first. So this lady, this counselor, Benedict, traveled up and down the parkway, and she was doing so because in an Instagram post, a shop called the Sip Cafe said an immigration arrest happened as an ambush that had taken place outside the street. Benedict, in a post of her own, said she had heard from a constituent that a Mexican national who had been eating breakfast and drinking coffee in his vehicle was detained around 10 a.m. A Mexican national. Come on. You mean an illegal alien? A spokesperson for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security had not responded to questions from the Tennessean about whether ICE made an arrest outside of the coffee shop. Benedict said that she was concerned about what she felt like was a lull in the immigration enforcement, but it's now ramping back up. And so she has now started driving around monitoring a situation. Monitoring what? Law enforcement? What are you monitoring, lady? Benedict has found herself outside where ICE and Homeland Security officers escorted a bus carrying detainees through the parking lot. I came out here to watch this facility, but it's like 3 or 4 days after the big bus. It was mostly in Madison. Benedict, quote, did not witness it firsthand on December 10th or encounter any ICE agents as she patrolled. She was ready to call it a day around 2:15 until she spotted a suspicious vehicle and sprung into action. She wrapped up her shift at around 3 o'clock, making plans to start again early the next morning. The practice of monitoring immigration enforcement has been the target of criticism. Of course it should be. Why is she? You ought to be representing your constituency, your legal constituency in your district, ma'am. Now, that's bad news, and that's just gross, and it's irresponsible. She's trying to dox Immigration and Customs Enforcement for doing their job. But here's a spot of good news. So yesterday we had a lengthy discussion with Norm Parton about the future of the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. And I was not at all convinced that Freddie O'Connell would do the right thing. But apparently Freddie O'Connell was asked about the future of the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway this morning in a press conference. And he actually gave some positive response. Hold on a second. I want to read you the exact quote, if I can find it. Here we go. The exact quote is as follows. So Freddie O'Connell, during his press availability this morning, was asked about the idea of a ballot referendum to go back on the ballot to determine whether or not racing should continue at the Speedway. He said, quote, that he felt like a repeal and replace plan was in action and said that there was no need to build affordable housing on that property. That's good news, y'all. Said, quote, Metro already has hundreds of acres of land to build affordable housing. Why would we do it with that 100 acres? He also went on to say that this issue was sent to the ballot 10 years ago and, quote, voters strengthened their support for racing at the fairgrounds. Another quote, we cannot allow this to be the next wave land and Opryland. Nashville loses another institution. That was the quote that I received. We cannot allow this to be the next Waveland and Opryland. Nashville will lose another institution. It would be a waste of taxpayer money and resources to have an election again on this. You know what, Freddie? I like the way you're thinking, and I like the way you're talking. You're right. Freddie's right. Look, when Freddie's right, he's right. It would be a waste of taxpayer resources. It would be a waste of that property. Freddie, what I want you to do is sign the deal, brother. Let's go. Let's make this happen. Just go ahead and get Bristol in here and sign the deal and tell John Ingram to go pound sand. But he's exactly right. There are they have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres of property in the city where they can use that property for affordable housing. They don't need to use specifically that property, and that's not the design by these groups. Mike Kopp, or however you pronounce his last name, who will not respond to me, this guy is an agent of John Ingram, and they're just trying to sow chaos. I absolutely love what Freddie O'Connell said this morning. And I appreciate all of you. It has been a fabulous 4th anniversary show. I'm getting ready for my anniversary weekend, and then we'll be back on Monday. Y'all be safe, be warm. It's cold outside right now, and it is just going to get colder over the weekend. RJ, great job today. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thanks to Ken Weaver. Thanks to RJ. Jackson's back on Monday, and we are as well. Have a wonderful weekend, friends. Mark Levin is up next. Until next time, hug your loved ones. So long, everybody.